Sure. Okay, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen, wa usalli wa usallim, Barak ala Nabiyyina Muhammad wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in, Allahumma la sahla illa ma ja'altahu sahla, wa anta tajlu al-hazna idha shi'ta sahla, Allahumma a'inna ala dhikrika wa shukrika wa husna ibadatik ya Rabbil Kareem. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Right then folks, so this is the annual kind of Hajj Q&A. Actually, what I normally do is that I have a session. Shazza, maybe if we can take this to the floor. Put this to the floor. Is it okay, yeah? That's it? So normally what I do is that with my own group, we use this session to kind of just tie up a few loose ends, because to answer all of the detailed questions takes a long time, and it's good to do it in a recorded session. And what we thought we'd do is that we'd actually make that session the public session as well. When I say public session, I mean for the rest of the people who are going to Hajj in our local community or Manchester, and they travel down and they're going with another group. And it's of course important for you to understand that with my group specifically, we've been studying and preparing for the last 3-4 months, maybe more, maybe something like that, okay? And that's regular study, regular revision, regular Q&A, and other things that I want people to get into their minds, states of mind, which is, as you'll realize on Hajj, your mental control, your ability to have stamina, and most of all, the biggest skill, the biggest difference, the deal breaker between a person who has a good Hajj and who doesn't have a good Hajj is patience in dua, who has got the ability to be able to make dua for a long time. You see, everyone here can stand after their prayer and they do that kind of thing for 2 minutes, 3 minutes, and they start looking at their nails, and they start buying them, and then people, they lose their kind of, train or their focus, and then, it just goes on to autopilot, and then you're out of that. What you're going to realize very, very quickly is that Hajj is actually really, really easy. Okay, so straightforward. It's going from here to there. You're going to get a bus. You can't mess up Hajj. Like, you've got to be complete on a whole different next level of stupidness to mess up Hajj. Okay, because when you get to the Kaaba, you can't go the other way around just because it's too busy. You know what I'm trying to say, right? And a lot of people forget that, or not forget, but they don't even realize that some of the things that they see as super important are actually, in the scheme of things, not very important at all. Like ihram. Hajj is valid without ihram, the clothing. Like ihram, the white 2 sheets of clothing. You don't need to have 2 sheets of clothing. Like the slippers, lots of flexibility on the slippers. I'm not saying that you don't have a high standard and you follow the fiqh, but I'm just putting it into perspective. People are obsessive about these little things, and they realize they get there and they can't make dua for more than 20 minutes. If you can't make dua for more than 20 minutes, you're wasting your time going to Hajj right now. You've got to be able to develop the skill, and that's why your Hajj groups should have been preparing you in advance, and especially using Ramadan as that mock exam, that test, to make sure that you have the ability to be able to not just have the desire. Everyone has a desire to make dua. The best people who make dua are those who are most desperate, the biggest sinners, the biggest broken people, those who are able to connect with Allah, make the best dua. And those are the people who are going to have the best Hajj ultimately. But that's not enough. You need to be able to drive yourself when you don't feel like you need to ask for anything. You'll realize that the Prophet ﷺ makes dua in every act of worship of Hajj and Umrah for hours upon end. Hours, not minutes. Hours. And like I said, I'm not talking about that the Hajj is not accepted without long dua, but I want to say to you that it's not much of a Hajj if you don't come out of it spiritually better, if you don't come out of it spiritually stronger, more focused, more independent. So these are things that you should have prepared before. Certainly today, and you should have revised videos and books and articles and fiqh on the issue of Umrah and Hajj before today, and then you come to this now to polish up, to ask the important questions, the confusions that surround various aspects and so on. The big kind of benefit of today is me sharing good practice, tips, making sure you don't make any silly mistakes, and then little few shortcuts that you can use, and just making sure that you maximize the act. And just to give you a small taster of an example of what the difference is between a Hajj which is empty and a Hajj which is full, I'll use a extreme example of Hajj Badal. Hajj Badal is that Hajj which you do for someone else, a close relative, who of course is obligatory upon, and they pass away and you're doing it for them. So a common question, Aisha in my group asked, if I am doing Hajj Badr for someone else, do I get the reward? All right, it's a very common question, okay? And I want you to think about this. So it's someone else's obligatory act. So take away Hajj, take Badr away, just imagine Salah, someone else doesn't pray. You've now prayed Isha, but your father doesn't pray, he's not practicing or whatever. Can you pray for your father in that way? Can you pray for rak'ah for your father? You can't, and there's a consensus about that, and that's fine. But let's say you could. Let's say that it was allowed in the Sharia that you could. If you've already prayed your 4 rak'ah and then you're now praying 4 rak'ah for your father, would you expect anything from your 4 rak'ah for yourself? If you are, then that's not being rational. The whole idea then of you giving those 4 rak'ah to Allah on behalf of so-and-so is that it's on behalf of so-and-so. You are not part of that, you get what you want. The answer is actually exactly the same for any act. When you give charity on behalf of someone, when you go and do any other act of nafil, and Hajj as well. When you do Hajj Badal for someone else, the Hajj is then ticked off that person's obligatory debt list to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And that's it. However, if you do Hajj properly, when I say properly, I mean Hajj where you're really taking it to the next level, then everything which is inside of the Hajj goes to you. What do I mean by that? All the adhkar, all the tilawa, all the extra tawaf, all the dua, all the istighfar, all the tawbah, which is the real achievement actually in Hajj, that is something you take. Because these are the extras above and beyond the actual bare bones of Hajj which Allah is wanting from your deceased person that you're doing Hajj from. So if you understand this example, then you'll understand that when you're doing your own Hajj, you should also not be depending upon a bare bone structure, framework of Hajj, but rather everything that's contained in it, okay? So anyway, I'm not going to say any more about that. You just need to have prepared that. You need to be able to be invested in dua. And there are, there's things that people do where now a lot of people now use their phone to write notes. Okay, as soon as they hear something, they put something into their notes function. You've got to be writing notes. You've got to be speaking to people and not having that pack attitude, where someone says, a dua miyad. That's a Guji thing more than a pack thing, right? But every time they separate, they say dua miyad, right? And it's just like saying, I love you. Like Gore say to each other, I love you. It means nothing, right? It's just another way just to send a person on their way. Okay, see you later, I love you too. Nonsense, isn't it? Yeah? And no meaning, no intention, no heart. And we've done that. The Paks did it with inshallah. So if they're leaving on some kind of conversation, I'll see you later, inshallah. And no inshallah at all. No meaning, no intention. And the Gujis do dua miyad. Remember me in your dua. No intention for making dua, no intention remembering that person in dua, because it hasn't actually become a request for dua. It's just a polite parting statement of see you later, like we say in English. I ain't seen jack squat later, but you say it. You say it because that's the way you separate. And these statements have created a culture where we are weak when it comes to important aspects like dua. Dua is not meant to be treated in this way. And that is why then even when a person comes to you and says to you, bro, don't forget me in dua, you're going to forget that, bro, in your dua. Alright? So we're not serious about dua firstly. Secondly, when you want to do Hajj, you've got to change your mindset completely. So you've got to be writing people's names down. You need to shock that person. When he says to you, bro, can you make dua for me when you go Hajj? Or on Laylatul Qadr, don't forget me. You hear these statements, right? I'll show you how nonsense this request is. Stop the person and say, what do you want me to ask you for? Or what do you want me to ask for? He won't have a clue. Because he wasn't expecting that response. You know what I'm saying? And then they'll just go to default. Oh, Allah to forgive me and something like that. Yeah. As to get out over the bestie of that kind of, that shock kind of thing. So there's an education here on both sides. What is it that you actually want? Because if you want something, I'll invest my time and I will ask Allah for it. And I'll keep it on my mind. That's a habit during these last few days, few weeks of Hajj, that you teach yourself and other people and family friends that you're going to be seeing as well. Okay? So that you understand that dua is no joke. Dua is the weapon of the believer. And the believer these days, have got hardly any weapons. We've got hardly anything going for us, only our dua. So when someone asks for dua, you need to teach them as a very serious request. And you need to teach them as a very, very serious thing if it gets accepted when I do it. So you need to get into the habit of writing down things, details. And if it's long, it's long. If they give you a sheet, then take it. Right? Likewise yourself. You're going to be going there and you're going to be spending Let me give you an example. On the day of Mina, on the first, not the first day, but on the second day and the third day, which is the 11th and the 12th of Dhul Hijjah, you're going to be stoning Jamarat. If you do it to the Sunnah, if you're just doing a Hajj, where just walking around and don't care about the Sunnah, the action of the Prophet ﷺ, then you can do Hajj very easily and it takes very few minutes. But if you're going to do it like the Prophet ﷺ did it, then after he stoned the first pillar on the 11th, the Prophet ﷺ then went to the side, just 10-20 meters to the side, and Aisha narrates this hadith, and she said that he stood and he faced Mecca, and you can see it now because obviously they've redone the entire structure of Jamarat and they put it on layers and they've opened up the entire side so you can see the clock tower, so you can actually see exactly where the Kaaba is. And Aisha said the Prophet ﷺ, after he had stoned 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, then he would then turn and walk, and he would then lift his hands and he would make dua. And I would say that the length of that dua was the length that it takes to recite Surah Al-Baqarah. Then he went and stoned the second Jamrah, and then I saw him go to the left and turn to the Kaaba and make dua about the length of Surah Al-Baqarah. That's just near the Jamarat on one day. The Sunnah, of course, is to stay 3 days and be doing these stonings. That's just there. On the night of Muzdalifah, when you are going to be spending the night, and it's a rough night, okay, and you wake up and you don't know what's happening, what's going on, and you pray Salah, and the Sunnah of the Prophet ﷺ is to pray Salatul Fajr right on the bam of Fajr, right at the beginning time, and then he would turn towards the Qibla, and he would make dua from then until just before sunrise, which is a clean hour standing making dua. Now you might turn around and say, well, I can't do that behavior, that's above me. And I say, fine. But if you want to do Hajj according to the Sunnah, that's what the Sunnah is. Now that requires preparation. That doesn't require me to tell you how to make dua. I can give you a few tips and a few sunan and a few adab and a few facts. But the only way you can practice that is to really believe in that dua, really feel desperate enough that I need to make dua, really know actually what to say. You've actually researched. You get what I'm trying to say? That is what's going to make or break your Hajj. Nothing else. Alright? And so on that note, another thing which is important is when a lot of us on social media, whatever, we're talking about different countries, different communities, it's a good part of your time, well worth your time, to look into various communities of the Muslims and understand their situations. So you don't make that lame dua of, Allah help the Muslims and the Muslimat and mu'mineen, mu'minat. Rather, you should be saying, Ya Allah, you know the situation of the Muslims in Rohingya, and you will speak to Allah in a conversation, and you will give the facts that you know and what you've seen and what you've observed. You will look at the stories of the children and the orphans, and you will tie it together in narrative in your mind, and you will express to Allah, and you won't make a lame statement of Allah help the Muslims, Allahumma a'iz al-Islam wal-Muslimin, and say, you know what, when they come back and you say, well, I made dua for all of the people. That's lame. And the whole point of Hajj is that it's going to take you to a whole different level of Muslim. Lame Muslim before, switched on, practicing Muslim afterwards. Alright? So, obviously a lot of people, are in different groups, and I don't know how you've been prepared, but this should have happened. And now we don't have too much time. I really want to focus on Q&A. I don't want to focus on the fiqh of Hajj. I don't want to even really go into Hajj itself, because Hajj is of two portions. It's the Umrah, big gap in between, 10-15 days in between, and then the Hajj itself. And normally, that 10-15 day period, in most of the modern day type of groups, especially mine, but most of the modern groups, will then revise the issues of Hajj in that period of time. Your priority now should be on, especially those folks who are arriving in Jeddah and not going to Medina now, then it's important for me to cover Umrah. It's essential for me to get you understanding what Ihram is, and the key issues of leaving this country, whether you got to do something or not, and then getting the Umrah done. After that, okay, the Hajj, I'm just going to basically touch upon it. You're going to go there, you're going to do this, going to do that. Because now it's going to go in one ear and out the other. It's too much information to be able to take in right now. You have to trust me on that. And you're going to have to invest that time, that 10-15 day period after Umrah, to spend reading, studying, and so on and so forth. And also I want you to know, no Hajj, this is 19th year that I'm taking Hajj groups, okay? And not a single year I have been to Hajj except a new issue has required me to get fatwa, let alone you. meaning there has always been a new scenario, or someone's presented a new situation, or something that I just don't know from the books of fiqh, where I have to go to the senior scholars to give a ruling, not to show me some fiqh, because the fiqh is clear and I know the fiqh, but someone has to create a new fatwa. My point is, you will have to have a resource in those days before Hajj and Hajj when you are there. You have to make sure that you feel confident enough to put pressure upon your teacher or your guide to give you the ruling to find your solution, because X might happen, accident might happen, menstruation might start, you can't get back in time, you got to Muzdalifah late, the bus broke down. Hundreds and thousands of different things can happen. Okay, just literally it's up in the air. So you need to be aware. To that note, write this down. This will be my Saudi mobile number. Okay, and you will call, and I get called by a million times, and if I don't answer, it's because I don't want to answer. Okay, so don't lose heart on that, and just keep ringing, and then when I am ready to answer the questions, then I will answer the questions. Don't bother sending me text messages. I don't respond to texts or WhatsApps or anything like that. You call, you speak to me, you keep it very, very clear, exactly, Salam, dua, I'm not interested. Okay, just go, this is my issue, and I will give you the answer, and that's it. Okay, so the number is 055 425 8506. So that will be locally, when you're dialing it, you will dial 055 425 8506, which is indicating to you that it is essential for you to have a local SIM when you get to Saudi. STC is the best company to have it. Okay, ignore the cheap deals by Zain and by Mobily. Okay, it'd be easier. I'll read the number again. Okay, it'd be easy to get the Mobily and Zain numbers, but STC is the company it's worth queuing up for. Not worth 2 hours of queues, but worth half an hour of queuing. You got to make that judgment call. Okay, 055 425 8506. Okay, and if that number changes, all right, then I'll probably let it be known on my Facebook page if that changes, but it shouldn't change, inshallah. That's my permanent number, 055 425 8506. Okay, and that is when you're stuck, when you have an issue. Don't be calling me and give me some, tell me what to say in dua or some lameness. Okay, don't make me upset. Right. Okay, let's talk about the most important start right at the beginning, and this is assuming that people are going to Jeddah. All right, because of that assumption, and because put your hands up, show of hands, how many people are going to Jeddah first? Okay, yeah, all right. So my group is going to Medina, right? And the factual difference is the miqat. There are 5 miqats. A miqat is a stopping station from which Ihram officially starts. Let's talk about Ihram. Where's the thingy? Where's the bag? So Ihram is a state. Okay? It's a state of mind, state of being, state of behavior. It's not fundamentally 2 white cloths. Okay? It's not fundamentally 2 white cloths. Now, this is the same as hijab. Hijab is a state. It is not fundamentally a headscarf. The headscarf in Arabic is called the khimar. Okay? When it covers entirely, it's called the burqa. When it covers the face, it's called the niqab. When it covers the body, it becomes a jilbab. And hijab is a modern day concept and modern day word. We call it parda, chadar, this, that. Hijab is a phrase that we have called the most obvious reflection of the state. So when you speak in a different way, and your manners are in a different way, and your modesty is in your whole package, it's a package deal. A woman in hijab, she looks different, speaks different, everything is different, and she wears a headscarf. And the headscarf is the most prominent, obvious first thing you see. And so you know what they said, let's call that the hijab. Ihram is exactly the same. Ihram is a state. You can't say certain things, you've got to do certain things, you're prohibited from certain things. But its dominant appearance is these 2 white cloths. They said, let's call it ihram. Do you understand? However, that does not belittle its importance. It still is an obligation of the ihram, and the hijab is the obligation upon the woman. There's still a level of importance. So where is and what is the actual function of the ihram? So as I said, it's the state which is a rukn. Now I want you to understand that every act of worship has different levels. It's either, if it's so important that the action cannot proceed without it, it's called a rukn, a pillar of that action. Just like a pillar of this table, a leg. If I take the leg off this table here, it collapses. There's no longer a table there. Okay? If this table's top cracks open, okay, so it's unusable, but I'm able to keep it together, all right, by putting some duct tape on it, because duct tape solves every single problem in the universe. And as The Rock said, you can never ever have enough duct tape. Okay? This table is still usable, recognizable as a table, gives all the function. That would be the obligations. And when it comes to the nice varnish and the sheen on the top, these are the sunnah acts. If there's no sunnah acts, still a table, still acceptable, just doesn't look as nice. So these are the three levels of an act of worship. The arkan, plural of rukn, pillars, the obligations, the fard or wajibat, okay, and then the sunnah acts of that action. When it comes to Umrah, again, keep Hajj right out of your mind. Every single person in this room and my group, we are doing what's called Hajj Tamattu'. The Hajj of Tamattu'. There are three types of Hajj. I'm not going to cover the other two because it's irrelevant. It's too late for you lot anyway now. You should have been studying that a long time ago. But now, you're going to be only covering that one type of Hajj. Hajj Tamattu' is called a Tamattu' because it has mata'. It has enjoyment. It's a chill. It's called the chiller's Hajj. Alright? And the reason it's called the chiller's Hajj is because you only have to do Umrah for 5-6 hours and then you come out of the Ihram. Any man who's worth his manness knows that this is the nightmare situation to be in. It's the worst moment of your life. 5-6 hours, you just got to just take one for the team, and then when you throw it off, you'll be so happy and buzzing, yeah? And that's from that second on, it's all enjoyment. That's the chill. For 10-15 days, you're back to normal. Eating, drinking, this, that, doing what you want, no problem, normal clothes. And then when it's time for the Hajj days, you put it back on again. This is called Hajj Tamattu'. I want you to know that the Hajj of the Prophet ﷺ and some of the other forms of Hajj is you keep this on for like a month. Bro, that's no joke. Do you understand what I'm saying, yeah? So, we ain't doing that Hajj, I can tell you right now. Right, so, we're doing Hajj Tamattu', and therefore our Ihram is only going to go on for a short period of time. Ihram is 2 sheets for the male, and whatever women wear is whatever they wear. So, women do not have any uniform. Neither clothes or hijab or color or whatever. They just need to be wearing their absolute Friday best, looking proper good Muslimah, and in all of the normal kind of obligations that you know. And anyone who needs to know information about awrah and hijab, whatever, then they can see our lessons on that, logicalprogression.org, the same portal that this lesson is going live out on now. You can enter into that, look under the section of hijab and revise that yourself. So the females are ready in terms of clothing, and the males, they need to get their clothing ready, but it has to be done before the miqat itself. And the miqat for all the people who will be flying to Jeddah happens on the plane. And when I say happens on the plane, we're looking at roughly around an hour or half an hour before you actually land. And the captain will give that announcement. This is where the benefit of a non-direct flight comes in. So if you're going via Istanbul or Emirates or Qatar or Kuwait or Yemen or Egypt, which is the vast majority of the people here, then it's a good shout to get changed at that airport where you stop. Then you've only got a 3-hour tops journey into, and you don't have this headache on the plane. And there's no human being that can change into ihram in an airplane toilet anyway, because either you are like a stick gadget, Inspector Gadget stick man, or it's all on the floor in all that dirty najas. I don't even think about that. Right. So don't even go there. Get your ihram on in the actual your airport that you stay over in. Now, the ihram going on is just the physical part of the actual clothing. You still have to enter into the state, which is why, again, it proves that this being on means nothing. I'm putting on right now, it doesn't mean I'm in ihram. Ihram starts when I tell myself I'm in ihram. And this is the first controversial part that you'll study today. Do you actually state out loud that I am now in ihram making umrah? This is called the issue of talaffuz bin niyya lil umrah. Do I actually say Allahumma inni nawaitul umrah, or Allahumma inni mu'tamiran? Do I say, oh Allah, I'm now making umrah, oh Allah, I have intended umrah? Do I actually state that? Do I actually physically say that? That's never been narrated from the Prophet ﷺ. But we know that the niyyah is essential. But the niyyah is not a statement. The niyyah is a reality. There's no way you're on a plane to Jeddah wearing 2 white cloths for doing anything other than umrah unless you've completely lost your mind. Okay? It's possible, because we got some freaks these days, but majority of you are going to be making umrah, right? So you don't actually need to say anything, okay? However, the ulama, they said that because of the hadith of Jibreel alayhi salam, when he came and met the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam at Dhul Hulayfa, which is one of the reasons why we make the umrah from Dhul Hulayfa, and that's the way that the Prophet Dhul Hulayfa is the miqat of Medina. That's the good thing about doing umrah from Riyadh or from Yemen or from Medina, that you will actually do it by foot, meaning you'll go to the masjid itself or you'll go to the area, and they make masajid there now, and then you'll come in through that angle and enter into it just like the Prophet ﷺ did. Obviously flying into Jeddah, then you have to do it in the air, and it's all that kind of fake kind of behavior. But the point is that once you're in your hotel, the airport, and you've put on the ihram itself, you have to be in a intended state of ihram when you go over the miqats, whether it's in Medina or whether it's Jeddah or whether it's Qart Manazil or whether it's that Irq, wherever it is, okay? So at that moment or just before, if you say labbaika Allahumma bi umrah or labbaika umrah, this is sufficient. There's no mention of Hajj at this moment in time. So that's the first thing, labbaika umrah or labbaika bi umrah. All of these are acceptable. All of these forms are acceptable. And by the way, write this down. If you want to have just one book, because there is no one good book, and you should be studying. That's the reason you choose a Hajj group very carefully, so you've got someone that is leading you the absolute full way properly, because none of the books are free of mistakes, and all of them have got pros and cons. But if you want to say the one which is the most safest with the least amount of mistakes, and it has mistakes, but the least amount of mistakes, then it's the book by Sheikh Al-Albani. It is a book called the what's it called? The Rights of Hajj and Umrah. The Rights. Anyway, if you type in the Rights, R-I-T, don't put R-I-G-H-T-S and don't give me a heart attack, okay? R-I-T-E-S, the Rights Hajj Umrah. If you put this into Google, Rights Hajj Umrah Albani, and Albani is spelled A-L-B-A-N-I or A-L-B-A-A-N-I. If you put that into Google, then you will find a PDF available, 2 or 3 different forms. Download it, it's available. It's available to purchase as well as a small booklet. As I said, it's the safest without a teacher. That book definitely should be taught by a teacher. But it's too late. And you should have prepared for that long time ago. So I want you to know, you follow this book and its instructions, you will definitely get a proper Hajj done. But we want it to be even better than that. And so in those areas, it kind of, it's a bit hardcore in a few places. It's a bit unwarranted in a few places. But when it compares to the others, it blows the others out of the water, because it's an ilmi book. And the others are just marketing material and not really serious about the job. Now, when it comes to the actual ihram moment itself, and you are now entered into the state of ihram as that state by saying labbaik Allahumma bi umrah, you are now a mu'tamir. I want you to know, theoretically speaking, that you could now have forgotten to put this cloth on, right? Or women obviously can be wearing their clothes, but a man could be he's in his normal clothes, and he could carry on because he's in a state of umrah in his mind and heart, and do the entire umrah in his normal clothes, and the umrah is valid. It's valid. Why? Because this is just, quote unquote, an obligation, not a rukn. So what would happen? At the end of the umrah, he would then pay a dam, he would pay a sacrifice, 50 quid, 70 quid, whatever it is, okay? And that would then allow for his umrah to be accepted. To intentionally want to do that is disgraceful, by the way. I'm just saying that if it happened, and I'm educating to the point that you understand the difference between a physical ihram and being in a state of ihram. Now, if you didn't and weren't in a state of ihram, mind-wise, not said labbaik Allahumma umrah, not feeling it, then the umrah is not even accepted in the beginning. It's a waste of time. You can go around do whatever you want. It's not accepted. That's the difference between a rukn and a fard. Is that clear, everybody? All right? That's the most important thing to remember. Now, when it comes to wearing this, Lala? Right. So, what's the wide screen on the thingy? Is it not picking up?
No, just take that board away and stand for the board.
Yeah, okay, push this away, Lala. So there are two sheets, and just yani, for the sake of illustrating the issue of how to wear ihram properly, Uthman's going to show you. And I want you to know that there is no right or wrong way to do this. Okay? Yeah, and obviously the Bengalis have got yani, massive advantage on over the whole world. Yeah, yeah. And it's embarrassing for us to be teaching Bengalis how to wear lungi, but yani, the point is that, but that's a proof. Whether you wear as Ma'awis like the Somalis do, or the Yemenis do, or the Bengalis do, it doesn't matter. Or some Gwara Sarong Beckham fashion thing, it doesn't matter. The point is you got two cloths and you're meant to wear them. You're not meant to wear anything else, no underwear, no nothing. Let me just say at this juncture that a common question is, I've got broken this, I've got sprained that. Can I wear a cast? Can I wear bandage? Yes, you can. Yes, you can. Yes, you can. Can I wear plaster? Yes, you can. Can I wear watch glasses? Yes, you can. Yes, you can. Can I wear a belt to keep things up? Yes, you can if it's necessary. Can I use a pin to hold it together because it keeps slipping? Yes, you can. None of these are a problem. None of these are what's it called? None of them are against the rules of ihram. There are two sheets, okay, the izar and the rida. And I think Uthman, I'll just let you just explain. You explain.
A few different ways of doing it.
Inside.
Come closer here.
What you want to be careful of is not to expose yourself, and that's a big issue. And also you want it to be tight enough that it's not going to fall off. So one of the ways, and the way that I prefer, is that you bring...
First of all, your feet don't fall into the mistake of keeping your legs together. You always...
Together, they'll stay together. So
yeah, you get that point, right? Yeah. Don't tie it with your legs together. You open your legs a little bit, even bow your knees out a little bit to create a little bit of space.
Okay, so you take this one, my left hand, it's going to come as far around as you possibly can. Yeah, and then you bring this one around, and then you're just going to tie it up and roll it into here. Okay, so you don't want to be pulling it too far up. At the same time, you don't want that first piece, if that's at the front, you'll expose yourself. So bring that the first what was in my left hand, needs to come as far across as you can, and then you're free to walk, and you're also covered. Being very careful when you sit down. I'll let Sheikh explain.
That's the big problem, of course, because obviously when you're walking, it's not a major issue, and it's not a very windy place at all, all right? Your real problem is when you sit down. Okay, you're not used to not wearing underwear. You don't want to be giving people that kind of nightmare, catastrophe. Okay, and people don't know, they're not aware, and their legs are all over the show, and they don't understand what's going on. So you need to keep yourself very aware when you're wearing your ihram. Yeah.
And a belt, I'd definitely go for a belt. There's different brands around, but we use Hajj Safe. If you look at Hajj Safe, they're a good belt. They fit around Sheikh a few years ago, and they kept his ihram up. So
I'm not even joking, it's a proper belt that. When you say a proper belt, it takes pressure, it takes belly pressure, you know what I'm saying, yeah?
So you've got pockets,
you can handle it.
Pockets for your phones and your keys, etc. in there as well, some money you'll keep in there, so do get a belt. Other than that, just be careful, like I said, in terms of sitting down. The second piece you can do whatever you like, yeah? But for...
If you've got a good body, enjoy your thingy, don't even bother, just wrap it over your shoulder. So if you've got bestie body, pack one, then cover it like this.
So some people will just walk around like this if you can get away with it.
Yeah.
Some people can.
Some people can.
Or else you want to have it over your shoulder and just over like this. You can use pins to put it together if you wanted to. Be careful though, what you find is a lot of people, especially in Salah, they'll be throwing it over the shoulder, so you'll be catching people in the face and the eyes. So be careful with that. Otherwise, just over and go for the towel one. A lot of, especially our Pakistani people, like to go for the cotton one. Don't go for the cotton, in my own opinion.
Yeah, agreed.
You have this on for 2 or 3 days, especially in Hajj time, you'll have it for a few days. You can use it as a towel. You don't mind if it gets wet, and it is the better material. Yeah. In terms of ihram, our group will be given one each. Your group should give you one. If in terms of a spare, if you can take a spare, then I'd say take a spare. You can get them washed out there. One of the questions that was in ours is about washing ihram, so I'm sure you'll touch on it.
Yeah. Let's do that. Let's do all the questions now. Let's questions you have about ihram. Start throwing them now online. Are they online? The comments. I can't even see the YouTube. Where am I meant to see it? Not on the screen. No. Let's do questions. Let's talk about the various aspects of the clothes of ihram and what you are allowed to do and not do in ihram before we actually get to in terms of what he said about our own group. There's the guys flying from Saudi, from London. Uthman will be there, and he will give every single person an ihram. And I think I've already said that in the email. Actually, I've told you guys. Leave space for the ihram and bags to go into your bag, into your suitcase, because obviously you're going to be going to Medina. You don't need to be in ihram. That's the good thing of going from Medina. In Manchester, myself and Isa will give them on the 2 flights that will be going from here, the Emirates flights. Right. In terms of the ihram getting dirty, okay, you're allowed to wash your ihram. There's no problem with that. The real question comes up using detergent. Okay. Now, you are not allowed to perfume yourself whilst you're in ihram. Women, of course not, and men not as well, specifically. Now, we all know perfuming is something quite normal, and deodorant use these days is like perfuming. So deodorant use is normally going to happen when you leave home or you get changed or whatever. Before you enter into ihram, if you have deodorant on, this is not a problem. If you put on deodorant before you put on the ihram, let's say that you're at the miqat itself and you're getting changed and you apply deodorant, this is something which is permissible. Even if a little bit of that deodorant then transfers to the clothes when you start sweating, etc., etc., this is okay. What's impermissible is for you to apply the actual perfume or deodorant whilst you're in a state of ihram. Now that's simple to understand. You're thinking of your Chanel and your Gucci, whatever, and that's easy. But what about soaps? What about the hidden perfumes? And that's a lot more controversial. Now, deep down, I must say, personally speaking, I don't feel that soaps and these various kind of skin lotions and X and Y, they come into the prohibition. I don't, even though they have strong smells. Some of them are perfumed, whatever. Because I believe that the perfume which is being added only to mask the actual thing, as opposed to make you more attractive and more XYZ, the reason that perfume is actually prohibited in the first place. However, the vast majority of scholars, they don't allow soaped products and scented products and wipes, for example. You got to be super careful, because when you follow that opinion, the opinion of the majority, if you go to have a munch and they give you a wet wipe afterwards, a lot of them are lemon scented, perfume scented, and it gets onto you. People taking their own wipes with them, and you get my point. There's a lot of places where scent is involved and you're not realizing it. Shower gel, shampoo, blah blah blah. And I personally, like I told you, I have my personal opinion from the Sharia and what I tell the groups. What I tell the groups is you should avoid all of these soaps. Okay, so you take with you your simple soap, simple, unperfumed, whatever, and you're going to have that with you, and that's going to come into use when you're in Mina and when you're in the days of Hajj. But in Umrah, you're not going to be washing your hands like this. It's when you're visiting the toilet, it's when you're in the airport, it's when you arrive at the hotel in Jeddah and you're doing a wash up. You've been to the toilet and then you pick up their soaps. These are 5-star hotels, they're going to have scented soaps, so I want you to be careful to avoid that kind of stuff. Okay, the question then arises, what about then getting my ihram washed? What about changing my ihram whilst I'm let's say that you put your ihram on the plane and you arrive then in the airport, you spill coffee over it, you go to the toilets and you wash it with something perfumed. Okay, you should not intentionally wash it with something perfumed, but washing the ihram, taking the ihram off, replacing it, all of this is permissible. There's no problem with that. Then after you finish Umrah and you now give in your ihram to be washed properly with detergent, and then it comes out smelling of detergent, that's permissible. That's the same ruling as we said of a person having perfume on their body and it transferring to the clothes before you enter into the niyyah of Hajj or Umrah. So be aware of that. What other questions do you have on the Umrah, the ihram itself? Anything physical? Yes. Correct. All the time, anytime. All the time, anytime. Non-scented and unfragranced soaps are all times. So now you have said labbaik. Yes. Yes, but I also think that you can actually wash your ihram with the scented detergent-based soaps, but after you finish your Umrah. Because that's what most people do. Because after the Umrah is very dirty and sweaty, whatever, it's messed up. And so people either, because they're not very expensive, and it's all a question of economics and space and so on. So, and nowadays I've got to say to you that the quality of these, definitely as Uthman said, these towel type ones are the ones that need to be taken over the kefan type of, cotton sheet, bed sheet types. People think because they are thinner it's better for the weather. It's not. Okay, these soak up sweat easier. And when you are, you're going to be, listen, it's going to be, they had 51 degrees in the desert the other day. It will be around 48 to 50 degrees throughout Hajj. This is going to be the hottest Hajj that we've had for a long time, and it will be the same for the next few years. You're going to be pouring, whatever happens. And you want to be just wiping yourself down with a good, a soaking type of up material like a towel. But the point I want to make is that these modern ihrams are very poor quality than what it used to be 20 years ago. I use my ihram the same, the 20-year-old one, every single year. That's worth it, because every time I wash it, it just gets better. These are rubbish, they are. Okay? You wash them a couple of times, it's not even worth it. So it's actually maybe in your interest, like Uthman said, you wear it for one, you dash it, and then you put on a second one. Okay? Because they're not that expensive. But if you do wash it, and you wash it with detergent, ready for Hajj, for the 8th of Dhul Hijjah, then fine, that's not a problem at all. The scent on it does not cause any problem. Right, we're now in, I just want to just get Umrah done, okay? You're in your Ihram, and Uthman, because I'm going to go fast, because time is messed up completely, right? If I forget something, then just shout out. So, you are in now your Ihram. The female companions are in their normal clothes. You've started the talbiyah. Labbaik Allahumma labbaik, labbaik la sharika laka labbaik. You know all of this by now. And if you haven't, you need to start memorizing that, okay? Alright, nice and easy. And there are two approaches to this. There is the normal pack approach, which is that you just say it all the time, every time, until you're absolutely knackered, then you still keep doing it. And that's fine, because definitely this approach has a good dose of the sunnah in it. What is the sunnah? To say it loudly, proudly, and it to actually cause some kind of hoarseness, and it is meant to be a declaration. So I want you to know that that is part of it. The Prophet ﷺ would go through certain parts on the journey to Mecca, and he would point, and when the companions would look, they'd see nothing, and he would say, it's like I can see Musa right now making talbiyah right now. I can hear him making talbiyah. It's something which is really clear to people as they pass by. So you want to have that feeling. And also there's a very important other hadith as well. And Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, Al-Hajju wa thajju. Yani a Hajj is Hajj and Thajj. Hajj and Thajj basically means really loud, really dirty. It's referring to the fact that there's lots of sound, lots of action, lots of sweat, lots of, whatever, and loud talbiyah, Allahu Akbar, and so on and so forth. And the thajj and the dirt is referring to the blood, because it's dhabah. Every single person is making dhabah of an animal. That's an untold amount of blood. Okay? So it's the flowing blood, and it's dirty, and it's a lot of litter and whatever. And you get these people who look at the pictures of Hajj, mostly millennials, right? And they go, Hajj is so dirty, right? And it's only when you get there and you realize that there's 2 million people who are trying to drink water, and the plastic bottles have got to go somewhere. You are going to get really depressed when you see the litter there. But you've got to understand that Hajj is not a clean affair. It's about getting the job done and moving on. The Saudis put on a mega project, to keep control of that litter or whatever, and they struggle all the time. You got to just focus. Ignore the sound, ignore the mess. That's part of it. That's why I kind of find it really weird, people who take wipes and things. It gets a bit weird, right? You got to stop. Don't be kind of, I don't want to say it, but you got to stop being gay about this whole thing. You got to get in there and get properly, jump in proper. Get your hands dirty, and wiping surfaces down and wiping this down and holding. This is not Hajj. Yeah, Hajj is action. Hajj is sitting on the floor. Hajj is lying down sleeping. Hajj is most of the time being staying on the coach. 8 hours all over the place. That's Hajj. You get what I'm saying? Now, the loudness, by the way, the sisters always ask, should we make talbiyah quietly or loudly? The majority, of course, say quietly, but in my mind, there's no doubt whatsoever that the sunnah of talbiyah is loud for men and for women. Okay? That's the minority opinion, so I don't want you to get in trouble if your Maulvi Sahib gives you a slap or something, whoever you're with, okay? But in my group, the women will be making the talbiyah as loud as the men. It is a sifa of Hajj. Okay, you're doing this. You're not allowed to be wasting your time, talking nonsense or gossiping. You're reducing all of that. Your jesting and your joking is reduced. Not haram. It's not haram to chill. You're only in ihram. You're allowed to eat, drink. You're allowed to brush your teeth. You're allowed to take in strong scented foods. People ask about that. Something's got a really strong scent. Am I allowed to eat or drink that? Everything is fine. You can wash that. You can clean yourself. You can have a shower. You can have a bath. If you do that, just make sure you use non-scented stuff and you carry on your way. You are not you won't be doing this because you've been a coach, but you don't pull up the plants. You don't kill any animals. The toothpaste, likewise, not a problem to use toothpaste to keep your mouth clean. You might say, hold on, you said it's all about dirt, whatever, whatnot. The Prophet ﷺ had a very specific policy to keeping his mouth clean. All the time. Even in Ramadan, when he was fasting, he would use the miswak, which has a natural toothpaste, flavor to it anyway. So that's an exception to the rough, tough, kind of approach of ihram. So ihram is your state, your statements, your words. Talbiyah, by the way, is not just labbaik Allahumma labbaik. Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. This is talbiyah. Labbaik wa sa'adayk wal khayru biyadayk is talbiyah. La ilaha illallah. Abdullah bin Mas'ud, Abdullah bin Umar, some of their favorite talbiyah was the shahada. And they would say also, La ilaha illallah, Muhammadan Rasulullah. La ilaha illallah, Muhammadan Rasulullah. The whole point, of this act, is you recognizing this is a mission, this is hard work, I'm too hot, I'm sticky and sweaty, what am I doing here? Get me out of here. Ya Allah, I'm doing this only for you. Only for you. I'm now going to a country, not my culture, million miles away, cost me bare dollars, arrived at a cube. I believe in Allah, I don't believe in buildings, make me go round 7 times, why not 10? Why am I touching this black stone? You can't help me whatsoever one little bit. It makes no sense. Nothing of Umrah makes rational sense. That's the beauty of the act. It's pure sacrifice. It's pure ibadah. It's purely, Ya Allah, you've called me and I'm coming, and you've told me to do this and I'm doing it, and you want me to touch a stone which can't do nothing for me, I'm going to do it. Why? Because my Prophet did it. Why? Because you sent the stone down from Jannah and it's going to make shafa'ah for me. You're just doing it, and it's a big act of sacrifice. And so the words you say will help your state of mind. So when you say Allahu Akbar, La ilaha illallah, Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah, you actually now start to get into the zone that this is the reason I'm doing this, because I believe only in Allah. That's it. So this is important. Talbiyah is meant to keep you going, keep giving you that fuel. Now, in my personal opinion, Talbiyah has to be used in a more cute sense than just constant all the way, because you'll be knackered out and you'll just be tired at the key points. And Shaykh Uthaymeen, he made a nice point, observation. He said that Talbiyah is like a living kind of thing, like a living dhikr. So when you kind of need to rest, you just rest. And when you see some kind of change, or you go up a bit, or you go down a bit, or there's a bit of a shake, then you're activated again. So it's like in and out, in and out. And if you're just on a boring stretch of motorway, then you kind of relax. And suddenly when you see the city lights, then you start increasing. And I think this is a better use of the talbiyah, and a living version. You arrive now at your hotel. You're knackered. There's no way that you're saying to yourself that I can now do this Umrah. I've been traveling for 20 hours. I was waiting in immigration. By the way, it's a lot better than it used to be. Jeddah airport, still a mission to arrive at, but it's not as bad as leaving from it. Okay, so it is what it is. It's not going to take you the 10, 12 hours of our times, back in the day. Now you're looking at 5, 6, that kind of hours. All right, you've got to be prepared for that. Medina, our airport for our group. You know what? We've had some amazing results. Anika, what was it last year? 2 hours. Yeah, we were out in 2 hours. Yeah, it could get to 4 in Medina, maybe 4 tops. But you can do 2 hours. We've had a 5. Medina is definitely better to enter in. But Jeddah, and so you can imagine, you've been on a plane, you can't go sleep, you got to arrive there, you're tired. So the question arises, can I go to sleep in my hotel, get 5, 6 hours, or spend the night sleeping and then start at Fajr or whatever? The answer is yes. People always want to try and plan what time to start. To be honest, every time has a pro and a con. You want to go at night time because there's no sun, which makes a lot of sense. It's going to be very, very busy. You want a quiet one where you definitely can get on the mataf. And the mataf, by the way, is the courtyard or the forecourt of the actual Kaaba itself. Okay, the numbering of the floors of the masjid is quite confusing. So you got the ground floor, okay, which is not actually the mataf. Floor 1 is not actually floor 1 how we would understand it. So you've got half floor, floor 1, floor 2. these different floors don't go by normal conventional systems. The ground floor is not actually the white tiles surrounding the Kaaba. That's called the mataf. The mataf itself. The mataf is obviously the most spiritually powerful place to make umrah, or to make tawaf, I should say. And I definitely tell you, your umrah itself, your umrah, you should do it there. Later tawafs, maybe not. But your actual umrah, as a group, we will go onto the mataf itself. And with respect to the actual pros and cons, you're completely exposed. And if you're completely exposed, then the sun is going to really kill you. But the thing is that because you're there, you do it a lot quicker. So we roughly have it at around 3.5 kilometers or 3.2 kilometers when you do it around the Kaaba on the mataf. And when you do it under cover on the first floor, second floor, third floor, or ground floor, half floor, one for first floor, second floor, then that's about 7.5 kilometers. Each a tawaf is about 1 kilometer. About 50 minutes it will take you. Hour? 50? Yeah. Yeah, about an hour on the first floor of doing the 7 units. And that, of course, is not running, not doing it very quick, but also spending a little bit of time. And I'm going to explain to you that in a second. The point is that there's a good few difficult hours in front of you when you arrive as well. So you might decide to go to sleep. Should you? The sunnah is the Prophet ﷺ, when he arrived, he started. But it is permissible for you to rest. And you'd rather be in some state of mind where you're not rushing to get over and done with, as opposed to jumping in and saying, I'm dying here and I can't deal with this. Okay? So, and then you rush it and then you regret it afterwards. So take some rest in your hotel, but again, be careful. When you wake up and you go to the bathroom, don't use the scented soap. Okay? When you come down and you enter into the actual masjid itself, any of the doors that you walk in will be fine. Bab Umrah is there. That was the sunnah, but it's quite on the other side. Might be difficult from where your hotels are going to be. So when you enter into the actual, and I just want to say something for my own group. I obviously am going to be going over this and leading this. Any knowledge gaps you don't need to worry about. Okay, do not worry about the knowledge gaps. For the rest of you, when you enter into the Kaaba itself, then there is a dua, not from the Prophet ﷺ, but from Sayyidina Umar himself. When he saw it, he said, Allahumma anta salam wa minka salam fahayyina rabbana bis salam. Okay, and this is in the book that I mentioned to you as well. You will find that. And that's something that you can say by lifting a hand and greeting the Kaaba, and that's it. When you enter upon it, you will now uncover your right shoulder. The men will uncover their right shoulder at this point. So up until now you're covered, or however you want to wear your ihram. But now when you go into the Kaaba for tawaf, you will uncover your right shoulder, and then you will put you will fling it onto the other side. Okay, and you will keep it down like that. And now you will enter into tawaf itself. The tawaf will start at the black stone. So you will maneuver yourself around until you're in line with the black stone. You will turn around and you will face the direction of the black stone, and you don't need to worry about getting it exactly on. Couple of meters this way, couple of meters that way, no problem at all. Even 10 meters this way, 10 meters that way, no problem at all. You lift your right hand, you will not, I can tell you now, be touching the black stone in your Hajj. You will not be kissing it. You will not be getting close to it. If you do, you're not in my group. Because I know that if you're in my group, you did it by doing something impermissible. Okay? Because you're going to have to either allow yourself to be touched and manhandled in a way which is not permissible, or you have used your strength in a haram way, just like the Prophet ﷺ told Umar not to, because he's able to. We're able to. Myself and Uthman, every time we go, we can go and create the exact structure it needs to go and touch the black stone every single time. But what am I doing to everyone else when I'm doing that? So you've got to understand that this whole Hajj is developing something else. There are things far more important than touching the black stone. Okay, and that's making sure you do not have to face Allah by having harmed another person, in your Hajj especially. And likewise, it's important for you to be calm when someone harms you. That doesn't mean that you just become this, pushover that everyone just takes liberties with, but you want to be able to have that mindset where I don't mind being wronged if I'm patient and I seek the ajr of Allah. That's an act of worship in of itself, to take something now. But if someone's causing harm to others, that's something else. And you should correct that the best way that you can. That's a sunnah of the Prophet ﷺ. He would do that. Himself, he doesn't mind being stepped on. But if there's another person who's doing something that is harming other people, like the Prophet ﷺ saw, this is authentic hadith, one of the people was making the tawaf, and he had the young child tied, tied to his hand. This tying, of course, is dead for safety, so that he doesn't get lost in the waves of crowds, and that shows that we're busy at that time as well, at the time of the Prophet ﷺ. But it was causing, one, it's like an animal kind of thing going down there, and dragging your animal. But two, that lack of control and not having the child by your hand means that the child is causing a problem for other people as well. The Prophet ﷺ, when he saw that, he actually asked for something to cut the rope, and he cut it without even asking the guy. Alright? Which indicates that actually enjoining the good and forbidding the evil is an obligation at all times. If it happens to you, your decision to take it or not. Of course, the Muslim should always be muhsin, always trying to allow people to get away with or be repentful for their mistake, if they make a mistake. Right, so now we have started our tawaf. And again, you got books of du'as and books of qira'ah, books of this. I'll just tell you my own theory. When I look at Umrah, the entire act, there is the putting of the ihram on, starting ihram from the miqat, making the talbiyah, the niyyah, making talbiyah, arriving at the Kaaba, entering upon the Kaaba, going around and making 7 tawaf of the Kaaba, then going and praying 2 rak'ah of sunnah, then having a drink of zamzam, then going to Safa, and then doing 7 units, which is called the sa'i, arriving at Marwa at the end, cutting the hair or shaving it for men, end of the story. That's Umrah in terms of actions. In terms of what you are doing at each stage, I would say that the beginning is a very calm and dhikr based kind of concept. So that's from ihram up until Kaaba. I think the Kaaba section of the tawaf, the 7 tawafs, is a focus upon dhikr and Quran. Focus. That doesn't mean that other things are not what should be done, but the focus point is on dhikr and Quran. So when you're going around these 7 units, it's subhanallah, it's la hawla wa la quwwata illa billah, it's subhanallah wa bihamdihi subhanallah al-azim 100 times. It's reciting the Quran that you know by heart. It's pulling out a mushaf or your phone and reciting from the mushaf. It's really looking at the Kaaba and drinking it, really allowing your eyes to marvel in it, because that's an act of ibadah as well. It's not so much dua, alright, because we have a dua part. When you go around 3 corners and you come to the last part, which is known the Rukn as the Rukn Yamani and the Hajar Aswad, the last final corner. In this part here, this is a part of Rabbana atina fid dunya hasana wa fil akhirati hasana wa qina adhab an-nar, and you're repeating that constantly. That's the only authentically narrated dua from the Sunnah of the Prophet ﷺ in Tawaf, which would then indicate that dua is coming. And when's that coming? You're going to pray your 2 rak'ah, you're going to drink your water. That's when your dua starts. The dua for the dua that's done whilst drinking zamzam is significant. Al-ma'u zamzam lima shuriba la, the Prophet ﷺ said, which basically translates as, when you're drinking zamzam, make every dua that you can, because it's given. So during that process, you make your dua. And I just want to add at this juncture that dua is of different types. And I can't spend time on this because it's unfair to my group, because we've covered this in detail. But dua that is said in Arabic, according to the Sunnah, with you in a good state, being sincere, being switched on, that's an 8 or a 9 out of 10. Not only is it accepted, but it's rewarded at a level of 8, 9 out of 10. A dua which is in your own language, because you can't speak Arabic and you didn't learn anything from the Sunnah, or you can't learn anything from the Sunnah, whatever, but you feel it. That might be a 1 or a 2 or a 3 out of a 10 in terms of reward, but it's still an accepted dua. A dua which makes it to 1 is accepted. Do you understand? On a scale of 10, if there's a scale of 10 for your dua, 1 to 10 is all accepted dua. 0 is a non-accepted, rejected dua. You're not going to be in that, inshallah. It's going to be 1 to 10. The more you get closer to the sunnah, the more better it is. But I want you to know that if you don't know sunnah, you don't know Arabic, you haven't memorized this, you don't know the appropriate thing, whatever you say from your heart in your own language will be good enough at that basic level. 1, 2, 3. Might not be the most rewarded, but it will be accepted. So I'm telling you this so that you know that when you're drinking the Zamzam and you don't know how to say Allahumma asqini, Allahumma afini, Allahumma shfini bihada, yani knowing the Arabic and being able to manipulate it at that moment, which is quite difficult even for an Arabic speaker. I don't want you to despair, and I want you to drink this, and then you say Bismillah, okay? And when you drink Zamzam, just jumping ahead now, when you drink Zamzam, you don't need to sit down, and you don't have to stand up, and you don't need to face the Qibla. This is not based upon any authentic evidence. It's sunnah in general to stay seated when you're drinking, but you don't specifically just because it's Zamzam sit down. But if you are in the habit of sitting down when you drink, then it's good. And Zamzam is drunk in 3 sips at all times. 1, and let it go down, then 2. And you can make dua before, in the middle, after, not a problem whatsoever. And you can say, Ya Allah, make me strong by this. Ya Allah, cure me from this. Ya Allah, protect. And it doesn't need to be restricted just to health. Okay? Now we move into the sa'i. And the sa'i itself is the place of dua. Dua, big time, heavy du'as is what happens in sa'i. And I'm going to explain that by getting up. But I just want to do a few questions. Yes? That's not true. Okay, sister said, it's been said that when you are making tawaf, you should not look at the Kaaba. That's incorrect. Okay, I'm telling you to intentionally look at the Kaaba. Looking at the Kaaba is an act of worship. It's an act of ibadah. It's better, to say subhanallah not looking at the Kaaba is less rewarded than saying subhanallah whilst looking at the Kaaba, which is the same argument of reciting Surah Al-Fatiha from your memory, or reciting Surah Al-Baqarah from your memory is less rewarded than reciting Surah Al-Fatiha from the Mus'haf. Because when you're looking at the Mus'haf, it's an extra act of ibadah. Okay, just so that you understand that concept. Now, again, when it comes into the tawaf itself, we're going around making this adhkar, and you're keeping it natural. You're focusing on everything that's going around. For the males, it is sunnah, you've already got your shoulder uncovered, remember, to do a running kind of action, pseudo kind of running, because it's so busy. So you'll maintain this kind of synchronized jogging, like, if you've ever seen what I'm talking about, because there's no space to run. The whole point is to show that you are strong, that you are rested, that you are active. You wanna, why did this happen? The Prophet ﷺ, when he arrived, they're knackered. The Quraysh are all looking at them. They're all thinking, these dodgy people, And the Prophet ﷺ did not want to make themselves look weak to the Quraysh, and so he made the Sahaba go around in a really active, strong way. And this sunnah then remained afterwards as well, and it remains until now too. So you will do the first 3 units in this running kind of way. Women are probably just going to have to, be dragged along, and that's what happens. It ends up everyone doing it the same. And then once you've done 3, each time, by the way, when you go around, okay, just Allahu Akbar. You don't need to say Bismillah. When you come to the Hajj al-Aswad, it's Allahu Akbar. You carry on. That's 1 unit. Once you've done 3, then you finish off the other 4 normal walking. That's the tawaf. Okay, that's the physical tawaf. Yes.
It's just a wave rather than kissing your hand and waving
The Hajj al-Aswad. Yeah. So Hajj al-Aswad itself, okay, you'll see lots of people doing things. First of all, golden rule in Hajj: do not copy what other people do. They are utterly clueless. Okay, 99.999% of the Muslims that go to Hajj do not know hardly anything about their religion. That's me being judgmental, but also being accurate. Okay, that's a fact. So you stick to what you've studied, what you've learned, and do not, don't lose confidence, thinking, why are everyone else doing this? So for example, when you come to the Hajj Aswad, you'll see a lot of people going, kissing or whatever. That's just the first of many ajib things you'll see. I want you to know that there is no kissing of your hand when you point towards the Hajj Aswad. Okay, it's just the pointing. The sunnah of the kissing is if you physically touch it with something. The Prophet ﷺ kissed his staff because he was on his camel, and he reached across and he touched it with his stick because he couldn't reach across with his hand, and he kissed the staff. There's a big difference from the air, doing some air touch over there and then kissing your hand. Alright? That's just bogus. Okay? Right, what am I missing? What am I missing? Right, we've done that. Yeah, we've done the tawafs. Finished. Yes, 7. Yes, we had a question there. Yeah.
First sight of seeing Kaaba.
Yeah. Okay, yeah, no basis for that, by the way. Good question. When you see the Kaaba first time, is it true that your dua is accepted? Okay, there's this kind of, pat kind of tale that goes around. No, it's not. And nothing from the Sunnah, certainly. But what I said from Umar is the maximum. To make that dua praising Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So tawaf is done. Happy with that? Yes? Once you've now done that, you go to any side of the haram, but now it's quite nice. You're able to go behind what's known as the Maqam Ibrahim, which is a place where it's said to be the footsteps of Ibrahim alayhi salam. Of course, well, not of course, but they're not the footsteps of Ibrahim alayhi salam, but they're an area where Ibrahim actually stood. That area, behind that, as you say, وَاتَّخِذُوا مِن مَقَامِ إِبْرَاهِيمَ مُصَلَّى, you will take the station of Ibrahim as a place of prayer. You say that statement and then you pray 2 rak'ah. قُلْ يَا الْكَافِرُونَ in the first rak'ah, قُلْ هُوَ اللَّهُ أَحَدٍ in the second rak'ah. These are the 2 rak'ah of tawaf. These 2 sunnah, by the way, are exactly that, sunnah. If you were to leave that out, the prayer itself is absolutely valid. The umrah, is valid. This is an extra and above action. Once you've done that, you then go and get a little drink of Zamzam, and then you move on to the sa'i area. The mas'a is called. The mas'a is the area that you can go and do sa'i on, and it's on 7 different floors. My advice, do not do it on the basement floor, do not do it on the ground floor. Go to the first floor. Go and find your way up via stairs, escalators, whatever. You see signs. Just do not do it on the ground floor. It's horrible, very claustrophobic, very low ceiling. No, not good. So go to the first floor as high as you can. It will be a lot less people, and you'll still get a good view of the Kaaba itself. You'll arrive at Safa. Now Safa itself nowadays is just a small, small little area that doesn't look anything like a hill or a rock or a mountain at all, anything. It's been completely glazed over. So you will be either on top of that, on the floor, or you'll be able to actually even see parts of it. When you get there, you will put your back to it and turn and face the Kaaba. And when you face the Kaaba, you will then start a certain formula. And I want you to listen very carefully, because this is the most complicated part of Sa'i. You will say, أَبْدَأُ بِمَا بَدَأَ اللَّهُ بِهِ. In your books, you will see this start, this dua. أَبْدَأُ بِمَا بَدَأَ اللَّهُ بِهِ. This is said once and will never be said again. It means I begin with what Allah begins with. Then you will recite the ayah that you've either memorized or you will have seen in your books. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم إن الصفا والمروة من شعائر الله. Okay? And you will complete that till the end. فمن حج البيت واعتمر فلا جناح عليه أن يطوف بهما ومن تطوع خيرا فإن الله شاكر عليم. You finish the ayah, you will not say that again. So the dua at the beginning is done, the ayah is done. That is it. Clear? Right. Now, while still facing the Kaaba, in the general region of the mountain itself or the area itself, you will start the dua process. You will now make 3 separate sessions of dua. And because you will go back and forth 7 times, this will total 21 sessions of dua. What is a session of dua? A session of dua means 10 dua, 15 dua, 50 dua, whatever you want to say. So you make your dua, 5 minutes, and then you stop. That's a session done. That's when I say session, that's what I mean. Okay? You will do 3 separate sessions at each end. This is what the Prophet ﷺ did. So I'm now going to explain to you how he did it. If this is the Kaaba there, okay, he would turn to it and he would lift his hands and I want you to imagine, the easiest way that I can explain to you is that there is a key and a door and a room. And the room is the dua. But to get into the room, you've got to open the door with the key each time. And that key is the following hadith. The Prophet ﷺ said, لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له له الملك وله الحمد وهو على كل شيء قدير لا إله إلا الله أنجز وعده ونصر عبده وهزم الأحزاب وحده. That's the one that you will see in your Hajj books. You'll see it there. If you haven't memorized it, I know it's long, might be difficult, that's fine. Once you've said that, the door automatically opens. And now you enter into your room and you make dua for as long as you want, on whatever you want, in whatever language you want, however much you want. This is now when we talked about how it becomes difficult. Once you're now tired and you've paced yourself or you've said what you've said, let your arms go down, shake your arms, get a bit of energy, a little wander here and there, 10-20 seconds, turn back towards the Kaaba and you start again. The key needs to be entered again. La ilaha illallah wahdahu la sharika la. Again, the door opens. You now make your second session of dua. You finish it. Then you break. Then you say la ilaha illallah again. You enter into the third session of dua. And now you have finished with Safa for the first time. And now you set off. So what you've realized, folks, is that this is no joke. You've realized that if you're going to do this properly according to the Sunnah, then your sa'i, your 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, meaning you will end on Marwa, is going to take a couple of hours. Now, what's going to really upset you is that you're going to see people who are just going tak, 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 tak. They don't say anything. You won't even see them lift. In fact, they just come up and they just kind of go like that. Like, if they're making tawaf. They just kind of wave to the Kaaba and they go. And when you look at that, you're going to think, man, what's happening here? I'm standing here for 20 minutes each time, 15 minutes each time, 5-minute dua, 5-minute dua, 5-minute dua, and my man, whatever, is just coming here like that. And he goes, I want to say to you that their Umrah, their sa'i is actually valid. It's valid because that is the bare structure. But if you, again, it's up to you, isn't it? You want to do it like the Prophet ﷺ did it, that's how he did it. Is that clear, everybody? So 3 dua there, then he's going to go on that walk. And I just want to say this walk is a killer. Alright? It's a proper killer. It's long, right? And the floor is rough as well. So if anyone wants to do a little cheeky, put the chappals on, yeah? I'm down with that. Not a problem. You're allowed to, yeah. You're allowed to actually put chappal on in the rest of the masjid as well. You're just going to get beats by the packs. That's what's going to happen. It's just not worth the aggro. Okay? I mean, the cleaners are all wearing it. The officers are all wearing it. The police are all wearing it. You will see other people all wearing it. If they see an Arab wearing it, they won't say anything. Right? Because Paks are just, got the inferiority complex against Arabs. But when a Pak looking kind of girl or a guy has got shoes or chappal on, but shoes, obviously you shouldn't wear shoes, but some thin chappal on, then the Paks take that very, very sensitively and they will keep pulling you up and they will keep kicking you. They will do all kinds of things. Alright? And I personally do not believe that you should wear shoes in the mataf. Not because it's not allowed, because you hurt other people. People are very, very close. But when you're on the first floor and the second floor, if you choose those floors, no problem. You can put on your chappal or whatever. It's not a problem. Now in sa'i, the same. But even more so. I want to remind you that at the time of the Prophet ﷺ, it was sand. Sa'i was sand. It was outside the masjid. Obviously, the big controversy, the second big controversy of now this session, is that now they've brought the sa'i into the masjid, the mas'a into the masjid, right? Which shouldn't happen because this is an external scenario, but they want you to do it to give AC to the people, to give air conditioning to the people, because otherwise you'd be absolutely burned, right? So I want you to know that if you wear your chappal on your sa'i, not a problem. And what are you mostly saying when you're going down? Now you're relaxing. You're killing the dua on each side, right? So now on the actual walking parts, you're reciting Quran, you're making dhikr, you're just observing, you're taking it all in, you're enjoying the process, you're just chilling a little bit, to be honest. You need to. Otherwise, when you get there to the other end, and now you've got to knock out another 15 minutes of dua, man's get tired, you know what I'm saying? Spiritually, mentally, you become tired. So you've got to pace yourself, alright? You will know that there are green lights. This is reflecting, of course, when Hajj was running. So when the green lights come, you will run across. The big question is, can women run across? And you won't see any women running. But of course women should run across. I believe women should run across. It's going to be looking strange, but I think women should. Men should. And when someone asks and someone shouts that you don't run, you say, why are you running? It was a woman who established this in the first place, not a man. Okay? Try that. You get a slap, but don't worry, try it anyway. Still worth it. It was Hajj, isn't it? It wasn't Ibrahim alayhi salam. It was Hajj, wasn't it? You know what I'm saying? What's going on there? Right. Anyway, so back, forth, back, forth, back, forth. So just count these du'as. 3 starting off, 3 at the end at Marwa, 3 back here, 9, 3 more at Marwa, 12, 3 more back here, 15, 3 back there, 18, 3 back here, 21, and then you end, this is 6 times you've gone, and then you walk up to do the 7th. When you reach Marwa, no dua, no statement, no nothing, it's finished. At that moment now you go back to your hotel room, the men will go to the barber shop. What do we pay, 10 or 5? 10. They will say 15, okay? Don't pay 15, boys, okay? It's 10, it's never more than 10, hold out for 10, okay? And get your head shaved, good to get your head shaved. That's a sunnah. If you're a bit of a kind of stud and you're worried about, what the girls will say, then okay, you can have a cut. But you should get your head shaved, all right? At this early stage, you've got another 20 days left anyway. It's going to grow back, so don't worry about that. As for the women, don't do a pack behavior where people start pulling scissors out and cutting their hair like qasam, embarrassment, yeah? Because you're coming to Cheadle, people will see you, know you, you're disrespecting me, disrespecting Cheadle Masjid, disrespecting Manchester, disrespecting the Queen, disrespecting everything. Don't go and start pulling your hair out on your dupatta. It's aib, that is. This is shameful. Wait till you go back to your room and then do what you want in your room, okay? And yes, you're allowed to cut each other's hair. That's something which is permissible. And then once the hair has been cut, you are now completed your umrah. Is that clear, everybody? Right? Now, that's worked really well. Right, so men cut all. If you're not going to shave it all, then you've got to uniformly cut it all with a machine. It should be all one length. Sisters, just one section. So you gather up your hair and you take it to the bottom, and just an inch worth is fine. No more than that, no less than that. An inch, gather it together, snip it off. Yes. You're allowed to cut your own hair and someone else's hair, but only after it's finished and only in a closed environment. Yeah. Yes. Huh? Yes. Yeah. No, there's no prayer after Safa or Marwa. Straight back to your room and wash up. Yeah. Best shower of your life. Yeah. Yes. 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 So this is an important question, everybody. I want you to listen very carefully, okay? The question is, if you are shaving your head on that first day and I want to do Umrah, I need to have something to shave. Okay? The next one. People are going to be making Umrahs for their parents, for the deceased, for this, for that. I want to say something which is important, okay? Conceptually, the Prophet ﷺ never ever made multiple Umrah. I don't know how many times I've never done a multiple Umrah in my life. Because the sunnah for me is very clear. Alright? And neither was it the action of the companions. But then I'm more of a person of privilege because I get to go many times in the year. I will not say it's haram or a bid'ah for a person who goes for Hajj once every 5 years or whatever to go and make these multiple Umrah. There are a minority of scholars that allow it. But I want you all to remember that this is a minority position, that a person does repeated Umrah in one trip. If you were to go out to Jeddah for 1-2 days and come back, that's fine. But a person who's there in Mecca and says, right, I'm just going to go Masjid Aisha, I'm going to just go and do my ihram from there and come. I'm just saying it's permissible according to the minority. I'm not going to criticize someone. But if you understand that it's not being done by the Prophet ﷺ, that it's not the sunnah, then the issue of the hair doesn't come into it. Would you agree? But now let's say that yes, I am going to do it. And you say to me, no, please allow me, my father, he didn't do it. I'd like to pass something on to my father for his sake. I want to do it. I'll say, okay, then that's fine. In this case then, shave your head to a 1 with a machine. And then shave with the blade on the second one. So you do leave something each time if you wish to do that. That's fair enough. Okay? Right. So, one thing I forgot to mention is that when the men have finished the tawaf, their shoulder is still uncovered. It is sunnah to cover the shoulder. If you don't cover the shoulder or you pray with the shoulder uncovered, the prayer is completely permissible. Okay? But it is sunnah to cover your shoulder when you pray. Alright? So I forgot to mention that. Okay? Now, the problem that we have is that Hajj was meant to have been covered by Maghrib. And we only did Umrah. So I just want to very quickly, I'll be honest with you, the reason why is because I'm going to spend with my group 5 days covering the fiqh of Hajj in between, Umrah and Hajj. So I'm not too fussed, to be honest, okay? But for you guys, I'm just going to quickly go over the actual acts of Hajj, just so that you get an idea. Just so you get an idea. You're going to be making Umrah somewhere on the 1st or 2nd of Dhul Hijjah, or in Dhul Qa'dah, 25th, 26th. Meaning that you're going to wait 10 days before you go for Hajj. Hajj starts on the 8th of Dhul Hijjah, Yawm Tarwiyah. You will move from your hotel. You will apply you will get your shower done, apply your perfume, whatever. You're not in ihram. You get yourself ready, put on the longest lasting deodorant you've ever seen in your life. Okay? On that point, by the way, if you're a bit of a sweaty kind of guy or a girl, what you do is that you can buy this stuff, it's called anhydrous crystals or whatever, whatnot. But if you type in crystal roll-on stone or something like that into Google, right, then you'll come across this product. It's doesn't have a smell, but it prevents sweating, right? And it's a stone that you wetten and you apply on your body, and it just reduces sweating. I can't remember what it was made of, but it's some crazy stuff. I've used it before, like limestone stuff, whatever. Anyway, you now make your niyyah, you put your ihram on, labbaik Allahumma bi'umrah wal hajj, okay? Or labbaik bi-hajj, even that's sufficient as well. You make your intention. You now put on your ihram in your hotel. You will now go to your tent in Mina. You will now be in Mina for the next 5 days. The 8th, the 9th, the 10th, the 11th, the 12th, and maybe even the 13th, maybe a 6th day. You will spend your days away as well, but that's where your base camp will be. During this time, you are entirely in ihram. That's what you're taking the soap for, and your shower gel for, and the XYZ for, because all this time you're in ihram, and you're going to shower and come out of it, and so you're going to be taking all your stuff with you that is going to make you survive these days. In this period of time, the unique things are what? That your prayer is 2 rak'ah, all of it are safar prayer, shortened, but on time. So your Fajr is going to be 2 rak'ah of Fard and 2 Sunnah, because that is always prayed. Your Dhuhr is going to be 2 rak'ah, Asr is going to be 2 rak'ah, Maghrib is going to be 3 rak'ah, and Isha is going to be 2 rak'ah with witr prayer. Everything on time. That's going to be on the 8th. On the 9th, you're going to leave for Arafah. It's a lottery system, what number you get as the bus. Sometimes leave early, sometimes you leave late. You'll arrive at Arafah. My advice to you is to rest. Get rest until Dhuhr time. Once the Dhuhr adhan goes, if you've got a group, they might be able to listen on the radio to the khutbah which is being given by the Imam. The Imam will then give the khutbah, and then he will lead a prayer. That's irrelevant for us. You and your group will pray Dhuhr and Asr together. 2 rak'ah together, Dhuhr and Asr. Okay? There does not need to be another khutbah at all. The khutbah has been given, you heard it on the radio, it doesn't matter. Okay? If you are with a group that's giving you an issue where they're saying, we're not going to combine the prayers, we're going to pray Dhuhr and Asr separately like Uthman did, don't stress about it. Just follow your group leader. It's acceptable to do Hajj like that, even though the vast majority of the 4 Imams and all the scholars are upon the combining. But if they do it the other way, it's alright. The reason you're getting rest is because now your whole day, from 1 o'clock until about 6, is going to be dua. For 5 hours now. So when I've been telling you that the most important thing about Hajj is the mental preparation of how to make dua for a long time, now you get what I'm talking about. That's an issue of hydration. It's an issue of strength. It's an issue of heat resistance. It's an issue of recognizing how sensitive you are to the sun. It's recognizing the importance of an umbrella. These are all human skills that you will use. It's about how much good notes you have. It's about what kind of good battery power pack you've got, because your phone is going to overheat 100%. Never have I taken a phone and I take the latest model every year and it overheats. Alright, you can keep it covered and everything, and you'll overheat. You'll see the battery be drained. You need to be aware of that. So you need to be taking plugs with you. You need to be taking your power packs with you. You're going to be using Google Maps a lot. You're going to be wanting to walk out and try to take in the sights. And the only way you're going to have the confidence to do that is to know that you can drop a pin when you arrive to your Arafah tent, and then navigate yourself back to that. Obviously with our group, we'll be going different places ourselves anyway, but you yourselves, you'll come back. You will not pray anymore at Maghrib time. Then you will then go to Muzdalifah, which is going to be the roughest night of your life. Whatever type of package you have, everyone goes to Muzdalifah. And in Muzdalifah, when you get there eventually, after you've left from Arafah, when you get there eventually, you're sleeping on the floor. It's going to be rocky, sandy, dirty, muddy, whatever. Up to you how much you can handle, what you want to take. You want to take a ground mat, you want to take a sleeping bag, you want to take, it's about how much you can carry. Because whatever you take, you got to carry. No one else is going to carry it for you. Okay? So we don't mind people taking these little mats and roll up whatever. If you can put it into your duffel bag and whatever, that's fine. But it's going to be your headache. You're going to be walking a good mile with that. So your coach will take you to Arafah, your coach will take you to Muzdalifah. But from Muzdalifah, you're going to be walking back to your Mina camp, 100%. Unless you're very elderly and you can't walk, then obviously something's going to have to happen. Your group will deal with that. But most of you will walk. So if you've got a big heavy bag that's got ground mat, sleeping bag, this, that, moisturizing lotion, this, that, then it's waste of time. You're going to have a nightmare. Okay? Now when you're there and in Muzdalifah on that night, I want you to appreciate it's a rough night. It's like concentration camp behavior. Huge, massive lights that shine in your eyes. Really loud, noisy. And if you're a person who's ill, has severe asthma, can't get to sleep, this, that, whatever, the lights kill, it's allowed for you to wear a face mask. It's allowed for you to wear earplugs. It's allowed for you to wear an eye mask on the night of Muzdalifah itself, only for those few hours when the lights are on. I think that's acceptable. So anyway, when you arrive, you pray your Maghrib and your Isha. Again, 3 rak'ah, 2 rak'ah, and then witr. Witr should be 3 rak'ah. Combined all of that together in your place of arrival. You then go straight to sleep. It's really important to actually recognize that when you get to Muzdalifah, it's a nightmare for toilets and wudu areas. Huge queues, very dirty. So it's a very sensible idea to reduce your food intake over the 24 hours before. It's another really good idea to utilize the Arafah toilets before you leave for Muzdalifah. Really go to the toilet, use and make wudu, etc, etc. At this point, you will have bottles of water will be everywhere. And I like to show this very quickly. But you'll find bottle caps everywhere. I want you to take a safety pin, alright? And when you have your safety pin, when you have your bottle cap, you always carry 2 bottle caps with you, alright? One normal and one that you make holes and turn into like a pepper pot. When you got all of these little holes in there, okay, when you see this, alright, this is your normal one with nothing, and you keep that on the bottle at all times. And the second one, you have prepared already, and you make about 20-30 holes in it, and that was what you keep in your pocket. When you're given your bottle of water, and everyone will get a bottle of water, okay, there. The next morning when you wake up, it's a nightmare if you think that you're going to be able to queue up and make wudu, okay? So, you take off the normal bottle top, you put on the other one. And then using the other one, you will make wudu where you are, in your sleeping quarters. And you will learn, if you're part of Faith Essentials, okay, Al-Maghrib's Faith Essentials, then on the video you will see me have done that, wudu already. And you will only use, in this bottle, you will use this much to make wudu with. Nice and easy. Right? So you'll just do like this, like as if you're applying salt to your food. Once, twice. And then you're not gushing water. You're just making sure that your hands are there. You would then do this. Once into your mouth. Finger straight in. Then spit into the earth. Okay? When it comes to the nose, a little bit into there. Put it in. That's it. Nothing extravagant. Once is more than enough. Your face. You will go straight on. Bam, bam. Okay, onto your face and then rub it in. That's it. Beard must go through. Hair is not allowed to be pulled out when you're in ihram. Intentionally. Stop fiddling with your beard. However, when you put your finger through your beard, was you're making wudu and hair comes out, that is permissible. Okay? So again, 1, 2, rub your face. On the arm, expose the arm for males. Women not allowed to expose arms. Women are going to be protecting themselves like an enclave. Alright? So the women in the middle start making wudu, the others around them make a barrier. Then you're allowed to then uncover your arms. If you have not got enough women to create that, then you use your loose thingy, okay, and you do this, okay, and then you put your arm in and you rub your arm and make your wudu without exposing your arm. Remember, by the way, that whole feeling of how horrible it is here is not like that over there. It's boiling. In the middle of the night, it will be 35 degrees. Okay, that water is evaporating just like that. So, you've now just done this, the dish, and then that, then wipe, and then your feet, you will again just spray 1, 2, and again, you will see very little water come off your body. You will not make a big mess, and only this much water will be used. It's very important for that night in Muzdalifah. So Muzdalifah, you've woken up, you've made wudu, you pray your salah immediately, and then you make dua. And this dua is whatever you want, but it'll be an hour long. And you will stop the dua before you see the sun rise. When the sky becomes very yellow but the sun hasn't risen, that's the cutoff point. And as a group then you will move on to go back to Mina in readiness to stone the big shaitan. Aqaba, which is the last and third pillar. We'll talk about that in a second. Yes. If you need to make istinja, then may Allah have mercy upon you, and may Allah help you. May Allah really, really help you if you need to go toilet. And I mean, obviously people have to go. And my advice is to wake up 2 hours before anyone else. Because honestly, the queues are 2 hours. And eat less. Listen, I'm going to say something. You're a doctor, you know, yani, this is not right to say this, okay? We go on the Imodium hardcore 24 hours before. We without suffering from diarrhea. We induce constipation. That's what I've been doing for the last couple of years. And I don't mind saying that one little bit, okay? Anything to avoid having to go toilet on the day of Muzdalifah. Now obviously, when you become dehydrated, then that can be dangerous. But when you're my size, there's plenty of water there, don't worry about that. Yeah. So, obviously if you've got to go toilet, you've got to go toilet. That's why the normal cap is there, because you'll need water to flow for that. You can't get away with the sprinkle. You get what I'm saying? Yeah, okay. Right, let's quickly finish off this Adhan. What time? Haji, what time? 13. 5 minutes. Okay, let's quickly then do that, and then we'll just, we'll have to do Q&A after Salah. Isn't it? Okay. To finish off the next parts then, what else we got left? Alright, so we come to the stones. Now, in terms of collecting the stones, okay, you need about 70 stones, 100 stones, okay? Don't do this thing about, I'm going to get exactly 63 stones. You drop stones, people want stones, you need to donate stones. Just grab 100 odd. Don't worry about them being perfect, and getting a ring and passing them through, whatever, all this nonsense. Yeah, it's a basic small stone. Size of a pea, size of a jannah, a size of half a jannah, no problem. Alright, it's all okay. And wherever you pick it up, there's no special place. There's no blessed place. There's no blessed moment. Wherever you pick it, make sure you have one of those. You know those attar bags. You know when someone gives you those cheap, horrible attars, yeah. And in the bag, that's what you use the bag for, huh? Or a bottle is even good as well. But sometimes if it gets a bit wet, it can be a bit mucky. But a bottle or one of those bags, get them in there, and you're ready. Obviously, on that day itself, you're only using 7. On the day itself, what's called Yawm al-Nahar. So we went from Yawm al-Tarwiyah, which was the 8th, onto Yawm al-Arafah, which was the 9th, and then Yawm al-Nahar, which is the 10th, which is their sacrifice, the day that all the major actions of Hajj occur, the greatest day of the year, Eid for everyone back here. On that day, your first act, when you get to the Jamrah, is to stone. You're going to be making your talbiyah all this time, by the way. All this time you're making talbiyah until you come to the actual stoning, and then bam, Bismillah Allahu Akbar, and you stone. Okay, 7 individual stones in 7 kind of ways. There is no dua being said on this first day, and your stoning is now done. You're still in ihram. You have a number of actions of Hajj to do before you can take your ihram off. What should you do? At least 1 to 2 more actions. What's left? The dhabah, which is the slaughter, which someone else will be doing for you, no doubt, because you will have paid for it. And my group, by the way, just so that you know, you've already paid for it. Okay, my group, you've paid for it in your fee that you paid. Okay. Number 2 is the cutting of the hair. Once you have stoned, assume that your sacrifices happened in the morning, and you have cut your hair. You can now get changed, and you'll want to, because to go to try and do the whole big tawaf in ihram, missions, 2-hour walk, 50 degrees in ihram. Thighs basically looking like a fat piece of meat, chaffed to next level. Man need to be taking big tub of Vaseline, the massivest tub you've ever seen, okay? Or what they call runner's glide, or whatever something is called. But nothing beats Vaseline, to be honest, okay? Vaseline is king. So you got to be making sure that you pace yourself on that day. You get changed, whether it's in Mina, or whether if you're like us, Aziziyah, that's the blessing of Aziziyah. You got a close by flat, you go back there, shower, change, get yourself ready, and then it's time for you to choose when you want to go and make the major tawaf and sa'i. Now I just want to end on this point. You got 2 options here. You either do like the Prophet ﷺ did, on the day itself, get yourself to the haram, do the massive tawaf, same as the umrah, do the sa'i, same as in the umrah, except that you're wearing normal clothes. Remember, you're wearing normal clothes because you've been able to get rid of your ihram now, because you did those 3 actions I told you, okay? This is called the minor hil. Ihram comes from haram, hil comes from halal. So I was in the prohibited state, Now I enter into the halal state. So it's nicer to do the tawaf in that. Nicer and easier to do the sa'i in that. You can either do that on the 10th, as some of my group will do and others won't because they're too tired. They'll just go back to the Mina and they will rest. Or they'll say, I can't do it on the day. And if you can't, then you go back to Mina. You've got to spend the night in Mina, which means the vast majority of the night you've got to be spending there. Okay? When we say spend the night, it means the majority of the night. And then in the afternoons of the 11th and the 12th, you go and you stone the pillars. So you'll go and then you'll stone the first, and then stone the second, and stone the third. And that goes back to the point that I was saying, you make dua after each of the first and the second, but not after the third. Then you go back to camp. Then you repeat that the same the next day. Then you go back to camp. And the reason I'm telling this as the alternative is because you didn't go and make the big tawaf and the sa'i on the actual day of Hajj. So what you're going to do now, and you're about to go home, you combine your tawaf and your sa'i. What are you combining it with? You're combining it with the tawaf al-wada'a. You see, there is an act of worship which is the farewell tawaf to the haram. And if you've not done your main tawaf and sa'i of Hajj, then you can do that at the same time. That would mean that on the last day when you are leaving, whether you've gone back to your hotel, after the days of Mina, when you arrive at the haram, you will do your tawaf, and after your tawaf, you will do your sa'i, and then that is the end of the Hajj. Okay? Now, obviously, like I said, I don't really like going into detail of the Hajj now because it's so far away, right? And the details should be studied properly later anyway, especially my group will be doing that later. But at least you got a rough idea of what's going on. What we're going to do now, obviously Maghrib is right now. After Salatul Maghrib, I'm going to come back here at this table and we're going to take the questions online and we're going to take the questions that are here. So make sure you stay and get clarification on the things that you are confused about and you need clarity on. Is that clear, everybody? Jazakumullah khair. Subhanakallahumma bihamdik. Tafadhal.
Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. Ashhadu an la أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن محمد
Everybody online. So we're going to let it continue. So everybody who's watching online, what's going to happen now is that you will see the salah, okay? You will see the Shaykh lead the salah, and then we're going to continue after the sunnah. So pray your Maghrib, don't pray with the imam, don't pray with us, pray yourself, pray your sunnah, and then come back to the webinar and we'll continue with the Q&A. Okay guys, jazakumullah khair. La hawla wa la quwwata illa billah.
حي على الفلاح حي على الفلاح الله أكبر الله أكبر لا
Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah, ashhadu anna Muhammadan Rasulullah. Hayya ala salah, hayya ala falah. قد قامت الصلاة قد قامت الصلاة الله أكبر الله أكبر لا إله إلا الله
استووا اقيموا صفوفكم واعتدلوا استووا سجودا وبعد please. الله أكبر. الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين آمين. وأتموا الحج والعمرة لله فإن أحصرتم فما استيسر من الهدي ولا تحلقوا رؤوسكم حتى يبلغ الهدي محله فمن كان منكم مريضا أو به أذى من رأسه ففدية من صيام أو صدقة أو نسك فإذا أمنتم فمن تمتع بالعمرة إلى الحج فما استيسر من الهدي فمن لم يجد فصيام 3 أيام في الحج و7 إذا رجعتم تلك 10 كاملة ذلك لمن لم يكن أهله حاضر المسجد الحرام واتقوا الله واعلموا أن الله شديد العقاب. الله أكبر. سمع الله لمن حمده. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين آمين. الحج أشهر معلومات فمن فرض فيهن الحج فلا رفث ولا فسوق ولا جدال في الحج وما تفعلوا من خير يعلمه الله وتزودوا فإن خير الزاد التقوى واتقون يا أولي الألباب ليس عليكم جناح أن تبتغوا فضلا من ربكم فإذا أفضتم من عرفات فاذكروا الله عند المشعر الحرام واذكروه كما هداكم وإن كنتم من قبله لمن الضالين ثم أفيضوا من حيث أفاض الناس واستغفروا الله إن الله غفور رحيم.
الله أكبر.
سمع الله لمن حمده.
الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر.
الله أكبر.
الله أكبر.
سمع الله لمن حمده.
الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر.
السلام عليكم ورحمة الله. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله. Bismillah, salatu salam ala rasulillah wa ba'd. Brothers and sisters, I have got two announcements. One is bad news and one is good news. Which one I can tell you the first? Bad news. Subhanallah. Bad news starting. Inna lillahi wa inna ilayhi raji'un. That is our brother Ahmed, Dr. Ahmed Cheadle's brother-in-law passed away. Inna lillahi wa inna ilayhi raji'un. And Dr. Ahmed, he was here Asr time, because he came from that. His brother-in-law is not feeling well for a long time, and he prayed with at Asr, and he now received the message from his family, and he traveled now. So in the UK is not home. Therefore, we ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to give him Jannah. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to forgive him. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to give his family and friends sabr, inshallah. The good news is, brothers and sisters in Islam, the masjid is full, mashallah, today. Some brothers and sisters came Asr time and prayed Jama'ah. That's all good news. The Messenger of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, who came to the masjid and prayed the Jama'ah, he got 27 ajr. And they stayed until Maghrib. Also another good news, sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, if somebody prayed the Jama'ah, one salah, and stayed the masjid until another salah, the malaika makes dua, prayer. Also says, oh Allah forgive him, oh Allah forgive her, oh Allah mercy upon them. So that's good news also. And you prayed Maghrib. And between Asr and Maghrib, you are not talking about the business, not about the dunya. You are talking about the Hajj. Also that's good news. Therefore, I ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to accept your Hajj, inshallah. But it's one request there. Everybody is going to the Hajj. You should bring, when you come to the Hajj, inshallah, Zamzam and dates. Bujur and water Zamzam, okay. And thank you for coming. Some people I can see there. I never see they came to the different place, Bolton and Rochdale and that area. This is CMA Masjid. This is your mosque, inshallah. We look after you, inshallah. And after the talk, there is no food. Okay, you have to pay your food and go to the women's logo. Jazakumullah khair. Thank you very much.
अच्छा ठीक अच्छा ठीक ओके वो पकड़ है ना साइकिल ये भी लगा दो ठीक
Shaz, why is the video stopped? You paused it. So shall I press play? Nothing yet? It's recording still? Definite? Huh? Right. I don't know if they are coming or not. I don't. Okay. Okay. Question. Comment. Question about ghusl requirements. What's the first one you've got? I've got question 2. What's the sunnah way of balancing? Yeah, I have scrolled up. Yeah, I think it's because I don't know what it is. Okay, anyway. It's not that, you see, it's this one. If you choose this one, right, it shows you this one here, which is only top. So all messages are only thing it should no, it's not. Look. Oh yeah, that's it. Oh, I don't know.
You want to read them up to you?
Huh?
No, they're here.
From a thingy.
They're here, one second.
Okay, anyway, alright, let's start. Bismillah. So
Yeah, so that's here.
okay, alright. We'll take a mixture of questions in place and online. So firstly, Fahad, Dr. Fahad, again, like I said, all of your questions actually about the book and Sheikh Al-Albani's things are going to be covered in detail over about 2 days, just on the book. Close this door, Yara. By the way, why have you guys not put this fans on? The controls are your side. Oh, sorry, wait, mistake. It's that pack here, isn't it? You're killing everyone. Yara, sort it out, man. And that one?
No idea.
I think it's at the back. Anika at the back corner. Open it up, man. Wow. What is that? Oh, that's the other one. Right, okay. We wanted to ask about intentions. So Saba asks about intentions. If you are intending to perform Hajj for someone who has already died, do they receive all the reward? Remember me answering that, yeah? So yes, they do receive all the reward, meaning that it is taken off their head as a debt, right? And the person carrying out the Hajj, they don't get the same reward, but they get all of the optional acts of reward that you do within. Because when you go to do Hajj, for example, the greatest thing that you can do when you go to Saudiya is to make tawaf. When you go to the Haram, the focus, and obviously packs being packs, you always focus on 100,000. In actual fact, the greatest thing that you can do is tawaf, because that's the only place in the world you can make tawaf. And salah you can do everywhere. And you can get more than 100,000 reward by doing other clever forms of approach to salah in other places and times. But you can never ever get tawaf. And the reward of tawaf is huge. So a person doing Hajj is only one small aspect. The rest of the time you're going to be going around making ziyarat, learning, studying, reading, making adhkar, dua and tawaf and salah and so that's of course where you're going to be picking up. Remember, of course, you can't make Hajj badal, you can't do Hajj for someone else unless you've already done your obligatory Hajj. And of course, when you make your intention is a stated one. Allahumma labbaik Hajj an my father. Labbaik Hajj an, mention the name. Okay, that's Hajj on the behalf of that person. Mustafa says, is there any specific intention or dua for us traveling to Medina, knowing we are seeking to make Hajj? No, there is not. None at all. Okay. What is behind the notion? This is a really good question. Mustafa says, what's then behind the notion of seeking forgiveness from everyone you may have wronged before performing Hajj? Yeah, everyone knows about that cultural thing. And the irony, of course, is that there's nothing behind it. There's no basis for this in the Sunnah or in the actions of the companions or whatever. It's funny that we say something like that because it's a great thing that you go around and seeking forgiveness from people. That's a brilliant thing. But we also should understand the reason why people do it. So the reason that it has become a thing is because people did not expect to return back from Hajj back in the day. Now it's just another old flight. It's just another holiday. You know what I'm saying? People don't have that same kind of respect for the journey. But the positive thing is they still have respect for the concept of seeking forgiveness. So what I want you to understand, I'm going to cover a couple of issues here, are these kind of, I don't want to call it cultural myths, but cultural ideas of seeking forgiveness. Which one?
YA64
YA64 USG. If that's your car, please move it now, yeah? YA64 USG. If you can please move that car right now, just blocking some people, Jazakumullah khair. And just reverse, let the person out, then you can go in. YA64 USG. The thing with leaving for Hajj is that you get a couple of things. Going around to seek everyone's forgiveness, going around to seek everyone's dua, making sure that you don't have a debt, and you know, these kind of things. So what is actually correct? Actually, none of this is correct from the Sunnah per se. Alright, none of it is actually done by the Prophet ﷺ or told to be done by the Prophet ﷺ. Why then do we do it? Number one, every sin is forgiven in the Sharia except debt. Okay, so if you owe other people money and you intentionally leave a person hanging and you go off somewhere knowing that there's a good chance of you not paying them back, that is unforgivable and it will not be raised from your head. And as the Prophet ﷺ indicated in a number of hadith, a person will not be allowed to cross the sirat until that debt is settled. There are even more graphic hadith, that's not the time for it now. So that's the point, that you are skanking the person who you owe money to. Now, people often ask, is it allowed to do Hajj when I have a mortgage? In actual fact, it's a sad question, because of course taking a mortgage is haram. It is impermissible to take a riba contract. And of course, as part of that, you are in debt as well, which makes it even worse. However, I want to make it clear that from the conditions of Hajj is not having a mortgage. Meaning, having a mortgage does not cancel your Hajj, number one. Number two, when it comes to the issue of the debt, then when it comes to banks and financial institutions, they already have it built into their contracts that if you were to pass away or to not come back, then either they waive it or they have a process. So going with long-term installment plans for your debt is not a problem when you go Hajj. I would be encouraging you to go to individuals. Now, you know, when you have a person that you're a friend or a family member that you've taken money from, you should go to that person. Oh, it's too late now, obviously, if you're going Hajj, but you should go to that person and say, listen, here's the plan. I'm sorry, I should have come to you before. Because that person, if they say, no, I want my money, then you can't then go Hajj. Because you need to pay that person first before you start paying Hajj. Remember, Hajj is not obligatory unless you have the money. If you owe a person money, then you don't have the money. What are you doing going Hajj? Right? So if you're going Hajj while you owe other people money and they want that money, you've got a problem. Most people are going to be saying, cool, you're gone for a couple of weeks, you've already established the installment plan, it's not going to interrupt it, so there's not a problem. The forgiveness thing is the same. Forgiveness, no one says to you, I took a group to China just now, and we come back. Not a single person went and sought forgiveness for anyone. And actually, right now, it was 10 times more dangerous us going to China and not coming back, than coming back from Hajj. Qasam, the whole day, I was just counting for the last day. And when I was on the plane, I've been wanting to Facebook it so badly. I wanted to speak so badly. Qasam, I didn't write a word until the plane was lifting off. Because I was in my head, I was thinking, you know what, they're going to call the plane back? And they're going to just chop me up and feed me to the dogs and then get the dogs eaten by themselves. That's what I thought was going to happen. No one asked me for forgiveness. No one told me to go and seek forgiveness. No one in my group. But they should have, frankly. There was less chance of them coming back than Hajj. Hajj is far more safer than that. So I want you to know that's a cultural thing, this idea. But it's not a bad thing. It's not a bad thing. But I don't want you to believe that it's something linked to Hajj. It's linked to the journey. It's linked to you possibly not coming back. Does that make sense? Okay? Right. Next question. Let's take between thingy. Anyone here? Just one? Yes? On the what? On the day of the day of Nahar, yeah. On Yawm al-Nahar, yeah. No dua. On the day of Nahar, when you stone Aqaba, the Prophet ﷺ did not make dua after it. Okay. Next question. Any place where we can get specific dua translated into Arabic so that we can memorize and make specific and personal dua in Arabic? Is this preferable than in English? Did you understand the question? So the brother Mustafa is asking, is there some kind of service, website, people who will go and translate my own dua that I want to make into Arabic so that it can be better? Did you understand that? Hamza, come here, do some service. She's having a heart attack. She's like, not me. Just stand here and just do this, Okay. Chocolates, by the way, not free. It's not free service. No, not now, afterwards. So, I want you to understand that this is a really good question. Okay, it makes a lot of sense, especially when you look at the dua scale thing we're talking about, right? The Arabic and thing. By the way, when I meant Arabic, I did not mean Arabic. I meant the Sunnah of the Prophet ﷺ, Arabic. Okay, otherwise the whole thing would be racist then. You get the point, right? So no, there is no service, and no, you shouldn't even use that service. Yani, I want you to know that your own personal dua in English is more powerful than you can ever imagine. Allah, as Ibn Taymiyyah said, looks to the hearts, not to the tongues. Okay, when dua is being made. The dua, subhanAllah, of the kuffar is accepted. Allah tells us in the Quran that even when they make dua, Allah responds to them. Sometimes the response is not what they want. Yani, they are thinking that they want more. Sometimes Allah gives them more. They think excellent result. We know that's not a great result at all. Okay? Because you can then become heedless, forget Allah, and then bam, you're going down. So I want you to know that you do not want to get your dua translated into Arabic and then you're there going Allahumma inni uridu PlayStation, PS4, you know what I'm trying to say? That's not Arabic, yani. Yeah, when I talk about Arabic, I'm saying, Allahumma aghnina bi halalik and haramik, wa aghnina amman siwak, Allahumma a'inni ala dhikrika, yani the dua of the hadith of the Prophet ﷺ. That you should learn. And if you can't learn it, then you read, and that's not a problem. Read it from your app, whatever. As for your own dua, keep it in English, keep it in Urdu, keep it in Bengali, keep it in whatever language that you feel you express it completely, perfectly, because Allah listens to those words. The itinerary is coming later. How many shoulders do you have to cover for salah whilst wearing ihram? This is a difference of opinion amongst the scholars. At least one. And to be very honest, my personal opinion is that the prayer is accepted even if you have the awrah covered and no shoulders covered. Okay? But it is of course against the adab of salah to do that. Okay? Allah says, Ya bani Adam, khudhu zinatakum inda kulli masjid. O human beings, look your best at every time that you pray. Okay? Every time you go to the masjid, every time you pray. Okay? Are we allowed to fast during Hajj? Okay, which is a good question. Would that be going against the sunnah? And that is the problem. We do not have an authentic hadith. It is allowed. But you are not doing the sunnah. You have far other things, more things to focus on and worry about and to preserve energy for than to be worrying about fasting. So it is permissible, but it is not the sunnah. When you are in Aziziyah, put your hand up if you are going to be in Aziziyah. Your package has you staying in Aziziyah. Put your hand up if you're not staying in Aziziyah. Put your hand up. So that's quite a few of you. Okay. So the question Samir is asking, when we'll be in Aziziyah, will we be staying local and praying salah as a resident there or as travelers? And when we get to Medina and Mecca, are we praying as residents or travelers? Now this is a very difficult issue. Okay, it really is a difficult issue. Because technically speaking, according to virtually all the imams, technically speaking, you are a traveler. In Medina, in Mecca, in Aziziyah, you are a traveler. When you are a traveler, a musafir, that means that you're praying your prayer half, you're not praying your sunnah, and you're only praying the sunnah of Fajr, and you're only praying the witr. That's it. Now you tell a Pak here who's gone to the haram that you're not praying no sunnah nafil yet, except some cheeky two here, there, he's having a heart attack. You get what I'm trying to say? He's like, you know what, I don't even want to be a traveler anymore. So that's where the first problem occurs. The second problem occurs that actually being a traveler doesn't mean very much, because you're going to be praying all your prayers in jama'ah, in congregation, and the imam will be a resident. They'll be praying full anyway. But the question is important. For my group, it's very important because we are going to be studying this in detail. All right, because we do more than just the Hajj. We want to be understanding the roots of this. But for our purposes of tonight, I want you to say that technically you are a resident, technically you are a traveler, but you treat yourself as a resident. You might as well pray as a resident. Pray full sunnah, pray full anything, and just enjoy it. Okay? Because remember, only Abu Hanifa alayhi rahmatullah obligates you to pray as a traveler. The majority say that you don't. If you want to be a traveler, you can be. But if you don't want to be, then you don't have to be. Do you understand that point? Abu Hanifa said, no. When you travel, you have to shorten your prayer because it's a concession from Allah, and you never reject the concession from Allah. It's actually an awesome piece of fiqh when you think about it. But the majority said that no, we can see from the other evidences that the Prophet ﷺ did not always utilize this. So, Allah knows best. Any questions here while we go back to the online? Okay, so please explain the ghusl requirements before adopting ihram. before you put on ihram, ghusl, which means to wash your entire body, ghusl has two conditions. There are two factors to ghusl. Number one, to have the intention for it to be a ghusl for what it is for. And number two, for your body to be covered in water. So theoretically, you could say, let's say that you wanted to make ghusl for Jum'ah, which is a sunnah, okay? It's a rewarded action. You could say, Ya Allah, accept my ghusl for Jum'ah and jump into a swimming pool. And that's it, your job is done. It's not a requirement to you for you to make wudu. It's not a requirement for you to rub your body. Your condition is to wetten your entire body and your intention. So when you're doing ihram, your ghusl, which is a sunnah by the way, it's not obligatory. You do not have to make a ghusl for ihram, but it'd be unthinkable to be honest in our day. But all you need to do is say this ghusl is for ihram. It's something that you say in your heart and mind. You don't say it out. And then you enter into the shower and you just wetten your entire body. You want to make it better, you make wudu. You want to make it better, you pour water over your head 3 times. You want to make it better, you start washing the right hand side first and then the left hand after. You want to make it better, you make your istinja before you started your ghusl. You want to make it better, you finish with the last act of the ghusl being the washing of your feet. This is like the whole point of a scale. But even 1 is an accepted ghusl, and a 10 means you just smashed it. You put in all of these sunnah acts, sunnah acts, sunnah acts. So simply put, when Lutz asked the question about the requirement for ihram, then it is to make the intention that I'm doing this ghusl for ihram, and 2, to completely have a bath. Okay, have a proper bath. Can you clarify? Lian asks, can you clarify the tawaf al-ifada? And if we have not made it before Maghrib on the same day as you stone the Jamarat, do we need to get back into Ihram? Okay, so this is asking a question which I don't normally answer. Okay, I answer that in our retreat, but I will answer it because the biggest mistake in the book that I told you to read and download and use as a guide, the biggest mistake is a position that Shaykh al-Albani himself holds. And his opinion is the following. On the day of Nahar, what date is that?
11.
The 10th, Eid day. Yawm al-Nahar is the 10th, the day of sacrifice, the day of Hajj. Yawm al-Hajj al-Akbar, as we hear in the Quran. Okay? On this day, the Prophet ﷺ, what did he do? He wakes up in the morning from Muzdalifah, makes dua, goes to Mina, stones Aqaba, does the zabah, shaves his hair, goes still in ihram by the way, because that's what he wanted to do. He goes to the haram, he does the full tawaf, the tawaf al-ifada, which is known tawaf al-hajj. Then he does the sa'i of hajj. Then he comes back to Mina, and he does all of that before Maghrib. Not so busy, fit man, everything going well, lovely jubbly. Also, by the way, very important point, his tent is right on the boundary of Mina. Mina is huge. It's a tent city. The posh folks are going to be at the front. They pay for VIP tents and they live opposite the Jamarat. Those who are doing Manji Bisra Hajj, okay, like my group has a name by the way. It's the AE Manji Bisra Hajj, okay, which is in the European tents, the American tents. On the other side, there's a 45-minute walk between it. So now you know that the boundary of Mina is 45 minutes of walking. So at the time of the Prophet ﷺ, Mina was not that big, of course, and it was just there. So you're just suddenly there. I want you to know the Prophet ﷺ was able to do that before Maghrib. Shaykh al-Albani, using some narrations which are not supremely authentic, and the action of the Prophet ﷺ, gave the fatwa that if a person does not get back to Mina base camp before Maghrib, has to put ihram on again. Now women are obviously chilling, but for the guys, you might as well just shoot me right in the head. You understand? That's murder. Anyway, you'll be glad to know that that position is not authentic. It's not the position of the 4 imams. It's not the position of the scholars. It's not the one which is based on the majority of the evidences. It's not my opinion either. You do not have to come back before Maghrib to do that. So I'm just answering that question. You will see that. It will stick out like a sore thumb when you read that, because it will shock you. I want you to know that you do not need to do that particular condition. Okay? Do we have to make sure our sun cream, this is good, alright, is water resistant for when, not water resistant for when we want to perform wudu? The problem with water resistant sun cream will be needed by a number of people if you're very sensitive, okay? I'll be honest with you, and I burn easy, I don't bother at all for Hajj, because it's just too much of a mission to use. But if you're really into your fair and lovely and you love your skin looking all that kind of, fake color, yeah, then obviously you do what you want to do. But for the rest of us, who just, we see Hajj as 3 weeks where barbad ho gaya, basically. You just got to take that attitude, in my opinion. You're going to get hurt, you're going to get cracked, you're going to get burnt, you're going to get, everything's going to go wrong, and you just take it. Because you just keep trying, and you're always just playing catch up. You put on sun cream one day, it runs out. You then try to put sun cream on, it gets messy. I'm not saying you shouldn't use it, but I'm just making that, be realistic. All right, number one. Number two, if you are going to use sun cream, sun lotion, sun this, sun that, whatever, obviously those are highly water resistant. They do create a hydrophobic kind of barrier which does not allow the water to actually meet the skin properly. The truth is that this is a difference of opinion about how much does a skin need to be wetted in wudu. And there's no doubt that it's best that it's not caked on, so that when you put water on it's all bubbling over and it's not going to the skin. But this effect starts to reduce 1 hour, 2 hour, 3 hour. And so it's a case-by-case basis. But I am saying that it's probably better that you don't get something which is super, super water resistant. Only from a safe side. But normal sun cream, sun lotion, after a couple of hours you make wudu, that's sufficient. Even if it doesn't feel like all of the water's going in. The sunnah does not indicate this obsessive kind of focus that the water's got to, what I'm saying? That's a bit too much. Allah knows best. Is it a must to make up missed fasts before Hajj? The answer is no. There is no must making up anything before Hajj. The idea before that was about, the possibility of you not coming back. What's impermissible is you saying, I'm not going to make it up and I don't want to come back. That's something which is impermissible. But everyone has the intention of coming back alive. Well, not everyone. You'll be surprised. Obviously, my group, I'll be telling you a lot of stories of how many people do actually intentionally go to Hajj to pass away. Okay? That's something different. But those people who, if you're one of those people here, okay, then you cannot do that whilst owing people money, owing fasts, owing X, owing Y. That I just want you to understand. Okay? Likewise, the issue of wills. People get all kind of, activated to, I've got to have a will. You got to have a will anyway. It's not allowed, as the Prophet ﷺ said, to have 1 night or 2 nights without your will being written. Your will being written is a letter of wishes in our modern kind of legal context that indicates that the things that are not going to be passed on to your family in obligatory inheritance terms, that they have been decided. So my car's going to go to so-and-so, my books are going to go to so-and-so, my clothes are going to go to so-and-so. These are things that need to be written down anyway as a Muslim. As well, you need to have in your letter of wishes a clear statement whether you're going Hajj or China or to Bolton. It doesn't matter, okay? You need to have a statement that says clearly that I wish my inheritance to be divided according to the law of the Quran and Islam. That is a legal document, okay? That has to be there, because otherwise the laws of intestacy kick in. If you die without that letter of wishes that state that, then they will take it off and then give it out in a haram way. Not just tax it and destroy you in taxation, but they'll also then give it to people that don't deserve it, according to the Quran. I might, in the next few days, try to get a template up somewhere and post it somewhere, because I've just been busy over the last few days looking at some documents to try and get that done. So I might do that. But if I don't, then go onto Google and type in First Ethical 1ST. Okay, 1ST, ethical will template. And that's good enough, okay? There's a letter of wishes template there and a will. It's good enough for you to use. In our email, did we include links to that? Yeah, what kind of preparation list was that, Qasam. How do you prevent oh, you sick guy, Amjad smashed it. Can we use organic cold pressed coconut oil as sunblock? Sick guy, There is a slight scent, but this doesn't last long. I think that's fine. Coconut is not a perfume. It's a swear word, but it's not a perfume. Amjad follows it up. He goes, it's got a slight natural smell of bounty. As a sick line. I think I've got to change my fatwa because bounty's got a great smell, bro. I think it's okay, Allah Alam. How do you prevent people walking in front of you in salah? You have to. I do not follow the fatwa that it is allowed to break people's prayer. But I do want to say that normally, of course, the hadith says you fight the person who after 3 times breaks your prayer, okay? Tries to cut in front of you. The problem is that they've been given fatwa that they're allowed to do so. The kingdom and its scholars have given that fatwa. For that reason, you shouldn't fight the people. But you yourself must never cut another person in half. Yani going in front of them, okay? Can you apply things and sun creams and sunblock that has alcohol? Yes, you can. Okay, alcohol is a pure substance. Just don't drink the stuff. That's all. Okay, but you're allowed to use it. Okay, question. What else have I not answered? Come on, yalla. These sugar. What material socks are suitable to wipe over for wudu? Any material, just as long as they're not tights. Okay, as long as they're not stockings. They need to be thicker. Certain denier, whatever above than that. Yeah. Can we make dua for our non-Muslim parents? Yes, if they are alive. No, if they are deceased. Yes, if they are alive. No, if they are deceased. Advice on the will. I've just told you to do that and find the thingy. Leather shoes or belts. What does that mean? A leather shoe. When? You mean in chappal? When it comes to your chappal, you can wear any material. Okay, that's not a problem. As long as it's a slipper or a flip-flop or a chappal, that's not a problem. A belt you can use, yes, no problem. Tube ihram, what's that?
If it's from the sisters, then they can wear shoes anyway.
Oh, if it's a sister's thing, sorry, and you mean like can they wear leather shoes? Yes, you can. Is that what it means?
Tube ihram is made into a tube like before.
And then?
So it's not 2 ends, you just step into it on the side. It's like a stitched up. Yeah.
Sick!
These are
Rah! Oh, sick one.
So,
No. So it's one piece. It's what?
we looked at it before.
Did I?
Yeah.
What did I say?
So it's one piece, it's not 2 pieces, so
Right.
you put it around, it's tiny.
Yeah.
Why would you?
Yeah. Well, it's obviously easier to use, isn't it? Is it not? I mean, I've got to say this tube ihram, which I didn't know what it was, but I've just been told, yani, is the one which is actually like a dress. It's already done. It's a tube, which you step into it, like you would a dress, I guess. I'm trying to think of the male equivalent. What's the male equivalent?
Like a lungi.
Yeah, asking you for. You wear it, you do. A lungi is ready made, isn't it? It's not stitched. Yeah, and this is the problem with stitching. When you hear that you shouldn't wear stitched clothes, it means that when you turn an open sheet into a shape with a stitch. You see, people get confused. They say that you can't have a label on your ihram because it's got a stitch. No, that's not a problem. You can have stitched and designs and everything on your ihram. What you can't have is stitching that forces the cloth to take a shape. So that's why I don't like the tube idea, because you're effectively, you're stitching one side, aren't you? And you're turning it into a dress thing, whatever it's called. Yeah? Right. Come on, what's happening? Are we done nearly? Because it was too late. After tawaf, what is the next best form of ibadah? Missed qada prayers or reciting a complete khatam of the Quran? Or anything else? That's the question. I think the next best act of that a person can do after doing tawaf will be salah. Because that is what there's a nas about, yani a text. And if you follow the opinion, actually it doesn't matter whether you follow the opinion or not of making up missed prayers, because there's 2 positions. You make up all of them and add nafal to cover up as compensation, or you don't have the privilege to do that, because to make up a prayer is a privilege. This is my opinion. And that privilege should not be given to the sinner who ignored the prayer, because only the person who is completely the most stubborn fool of all fools does not pray. So a person who does not pray, even if we make the excuse that he was not practicing or this, but he's a big fool. And then to make up those prayers is a privilege and an honor that should not be given to that person. Okay? And this is the position of Ibn Taymiyyah and Qayyim, a number of the contemporary scholars, that the time has expired and you can't make it up. So what do you do then? What you do is that you compensate for it via nafal prayers. But the actual one is gone, you missed out. So you would make up those prayers with the same quantity that you've missed with nafal intention. And doing that in the haram, of course, you're picking up numbers. Yeah, good numbers. Okay? Right. Is that the thing? Have a look at that. Is that Urdu or the thing? That's definitely Arabic. Right. Okay. What else? I think that's it. Yes.
One question, is there anything about having like a haircut before you go to that?
No, there's nothing about a haircut before. Abdullah ibn Umar used to, for the journey, cut his beard. Okay, so over a fistful, it was his action, but never the sunnah. So a person can trim a little bit here and there, that's fine. Yeah. But we're packed here, we're going to get a shave over there, so there's no one paying for a haircut now. Come on, bro, you all thought the same, man. What are you hating for? Yes?
You're asking about praying in Azizia.
It is Urdu, isn't it?
Yeah,
Yeah. Who said I can read Urdu?
They want you to do it in Urdu as well.
Bayan karne, huh? Okay. Give it to Uncle, yeah, they can make tarjuma on it. Go on. Give it to Uncle, you try. Give it to, yeah, Anika, yeah. Yeah. So, and got wudu or not? And you're just about whether you pray sunnah or not, yeah? Yeah. So the question is, you're making tawaf, and mid tawaf, physically mid tawaf, halfway or quarter through, the adhan goes off. Okay. Now, if the adhan goes off, you know that means there's 20 minutes left for the salah in general. Okay, 21, 22 minutes, right? Depending upon the salah, of course, and they vary. Maghrib will be straight away, and etc. etc. Fajr will be half an hour, so you can carry on, and that means nothing. All right, you'll make the dua for the adhan, you make dua after the adhan, then you carry on. If you wish to stop and say, right, I'm going to pray 2 rak'ah because there's always 2 rak'ah between the adhan and the iqamah, and I'm going to hold a position down, then you can stop there, that's fine. And then after salah, you then carry on from where you are, and that tawaf counts. When does that tawaf not count? When you go out of the haram for a good period of time, like about 15 minutes or 20 minutes, and you go far away as well. But if you were to actually go to the edge to get some water and then come back in again, that's not a problem. So time and distance when it's close is okay, you can continue. But when you take time far and distance far, i.e. toilets outside, then you need to restart that particular circumambulation, that unit. Okay? Yes, in person. Yes. Yes. No, just tell me the summary. Uh-huh. Yeah. Yeah, so that's in most of the groups actually. They'll be going to Mecca for 5 days, like 5-star right in front. And I just want you to know that when that's happening, just leave your group member alone, leave your people alone, let them relax. Just go and make 5 days worth of tawaf. Okay? Tawaf until you've never done as much tawaf in your life. Okay? Practice your walking now, get yourself fit, and just make tawaf as much as you can. Adhkar, dua, tawaf. Then you're going to move to the suburbs. You can still come back. Aziziyah is not a million miles away. What are we on? 10 minutes taxi? 10-15 minutes taxi. If you walk it, maybe an hour, 50 minutes, okay? Hour, odd, depending. Aziziyah is a big area, all right? But taxis, buses, bikes, it's a buzz. You just jump on whatever you want, whatever, and you're in. 10-15 minutes, you're into the haram. So you can still come back to the haram. But the majority of well, I don't know about the majority group, certainly our group, we use that to go into a different program. We start studying, okay? But the other people, what they do, especially the older generation, is that they will look at the prayers. So they'll go for Dhuhr, for example, or they go for Asr, and then they'll stay Asr, Maghrib, and Isha, then they'll come back. So everyone's doing different things. In terms of your prayer, should you now pray as a resident or traveler? Personally, I think I keep it consistent all the way through. I am technically a traveler throughout the entirety of Hajj. I am technically a traveler throughout the entirety of Hajj, meaning that if I somehow, end up praying by myself, then technically I should pray just 2 rak'ah. But because you should never ever fall into a scenario when you are on Hajj for 3 weeks at least not to miss a prayer in congregation. You should not miss a prayer in congregation. And it's the whole point of it making you a better Muslim, is that you create the habit so you can bring it back here and maintain your salah in congregation. And if you're praying in congregation, then all those people are residents. So then it doesn't matter. You understand what I'm saying? But generally, you just see yourself as a resident, even though technically you're a traveler. Alright, that's the answer to the question in Urdu. Yes? Yes. Of course you're a traveler, and you'll be praying 2 rak'ah. In the airport, you'll start your 2 rak'ah. In the Dubai and the Turkey and everything, in Jeddah, you'll be praying your 2 rak'ah. You'll be combining prayers if it makes it easier. You'll take full advantage. But once you've settled in your hotel, then even though you're still a traveler, because hotel is not home, and especially those hotels, even the 5-star hotels of Mecca, Medina are very poor, right? But you kind of feel relaxed, so you don't really take advantage of that. Right. Okay, the tube brother is talking about is apparently woven in that shape and not stitched.
So it's made as one piece.
It's made as one piece. I don't like it. I'll be honest with you, this woven idea, and it's not stitched, but it's kind of pseudo stitched, but you can't see the stitch. I don't think it's a major issue for a person. I wouldn't say that his ihram is invalid, but I just personally, I'm not wearing that. Some leather shoes are made from pigskin. I'm guessing that's not good. Naeem, you guess right. Okay, you guess right, bro. I heard that swatting mosquitoes, treading on ants during the whole Hajj period in ihram requires a payment of compensation. True or false? Not for swatting mosquitoes. There's a big difference, subhanAllah, between swatting a mosquito and treading on ants. Don't be treading on ants. Okay, ants, mashallah, they make tasbih of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So obviously by accident, that doesn't matter at all. Intentionally going after a mosquito is something permissible. Okay, that's not a problem. There's no compensation to pay. If you can't walk past people who are praying, then how do you leave the area? I will show you. Okay, up until now, alhamdulillah, I've never crossed a person. Okay, and that's just intention and focus. Someone saying that the First Ethical website is down. It is down, but the PDF for the will template should not be down. You should be able to find that somewhere. If not, then what? Then no, I don't want to be just giving a Google link. Just wait, yeah. You got the link? How are you going to give it to everyone, bro? No, these packs here. Our group, we've got it. I've got the hard document. That's not an issue. Can you scratch while it's in ihram? Yes, you can. But the problem with excessive scratching is excessive flaking of skin, excessive flaking of hair. That's got to be avoided. Okay? Yes. And Eid takbir. Yeah, this idea that you make takbiratul Eid is something which is not the sunnah. No evidence. But if a person did it, absolutely no problem. Because it comes under the general وَلِتُكَبِّرُ اللَّهَ عَلَى مَا هَدَاكُمْ. That comes under the general ayah anyway. Yes? Yes, there is a specific time for the throwing of stones against the pillars. That time is after Dhuhr. You start after Dhuhr, unless it's the first day. On the first day when you only stone Aqaba, that's any time. But on the 11th and the 12th and the 13th, you have to wait until after Dhuhr. Now this is an important question, because now the Saudi authorities have introduced a computerized system where they set and in your tent say to you, you must go at this time. Now the truth is that if you're a very good and law-abiding citizen, you'll do that. That's fine. We don't follow that. Our group, we come up with all kind of moves and we blag it one way or the other. I want to say to you that if they say to you that you need to go before Dhuhr, you should avoid it. Just go later. Okay? And you should try to do it before Isha. Yes. Yes. Yeah, packages, yeah.
Some people they say that this is your shukrana for the Hajj, not for your first Qurbani. So we have to do in our own country back over there, that one is done.
Yeah, so the question is that when you give the dhabah, the qurbani as a hajji, and you've paid for it in your Hajj package and you're going to be doing it, that's fine, but you got to do another one. For your Eid, your Qurbani, your normal one. And that's incorrect. And because if you are at home not doing Hajj, then that's what's upon you. And everyone who's at home is emulating the Hujjaj who are doing the Qurbani there as an asl. That's the original one, and we are copying them, but in an Eid scenario. You'd be miskin you are if you're having to do this one and only be over there. That's not obligatory. It's allowed, of course. The Prophet ﷺ did 100 qurbanis. Okay? So it's allowed for you to do that, but to say you have to do this, and that's wrong. The one you do over there is for your Hajj, it's not for anything else. Yes? Yeah? Oh. So the question is Salat. Yeah? Do it, not do it. The question is about Salatul Janazah. No, whether we should or not is the question. No, about how or not.
You should.
Okay, all right. Salatul Janazah, you need to learn the dua. Okay, that's to be said. Otherwise, it's 4 takbir behind the imam. They follow the Hanbali position. So whenever they make the takbir, you need to listen. If you type in Al-Maghrib, Abu Isa, Janazah into Google, you'll find a document that shows you how to listen and read or listen and hear the differences in the announcements. Because the announcer, he will say, As-salatu ala al-mayyiti yarhamukumullah. Or he will say, As-salatu ala atfali yarhamukumullah. Or he will say, As-salatu ala al-mar'ati yarhamukumullah. As-salatu ala al-amwati wa-tifli yarhamukumullah. He will be making an announcement every single time, changing the pronouns accordingly. A woman, men, males, group, children, child, each time. And of course, the grammar of the dua changes accordingly. Because you don't say, oh Allah forgive him when it's a her. So you don't say Allahumma ghafir lahu warhamhu when you should be saying Allahumma ghafir laha warhamha, which is the female. So the truth is that this needed preparation way before. Everyone should be prepared for that. But if you're not, then there's that document, you can read it, try to learn it, and I made it as easy as possible. And I've changed the endings of all the dua so that you can manipulate it when you hear the right thing. Other than that, if there's too much for you, then this is how you pray janazah. Imam will say Allahu Akbar, you will say Allahu Akbar. A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim. Bismillahir rahmanir rahim. Alhamdulillahi rabbil alameen. Surah Al-Fatiha. You don't need to read Subhanakallahumma before it. Don't need to do anything else. Then once you finish Fatiha, you stay silent. Allahu Akbar, the Imam will say, you will say it as well. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad, Durud Sharif. Full. Salawat Ibrahimiyya. Okay? Then once that's finished, you be silent. Then Imam will say, Allahu Akbar. That's the third takbir. Now you start making dua for the deceased. That's the dua that's on the document. That's the dua in your book. Okay? That's the dua that you should have learned. Allahumma ghafir lahayyina wa mayyitina wa shahidina wa ghaibina wa saghirina wa kabirina wa dhakirina. You know that dua. And then after that you add your own dua. If you don't know the dua, then you just say whatever you can. Oh Allah forgive this person. I don't know who they are. Allah forgive them. Just say it in your own language, because obviously you've not left yourself any choice. Okay? Then Allahu Akbar. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. It'll only be one. Okay? If they do 2, then you just do 2 as well. Alright? That's how you do Salatul Janazah. You follow the Imam in this way. The content, after the first one, Surah Al-Fatiha, Durud Sharif after the second one, and your dua for the deceased after the last one. Okay? Next. Can women brush their hair in ihram? Yes, they can. Can you do your own sacrifice? Yes, you can. In Salah in Aziziyah, are you rewarded the same as being in a haram? No, you are not. Are you rewarded the same in your hotel as you are in the masjid? No, you are not. Are you rewarded the same in the masjid, in the musalla of the hotel that has a viewing window? Fairmont, Hyatt, the Burj, the Abraj, the Hilton Suites. All of those have a masjid musalla in the hotel floor, whatever, that will have an open view of the masjid. You'll see the lines and you'll see the jama'ah, and you'll be able to pray there. Do you get the reward of the jama'ah and the reward of the 100,000? No, you do not, according to the majority. Okay? So the others were very clear, not. And then on this issue, when you see the line, there's a khilaf. They said as long as you can see the jama'ah, you're part of the jama'ah. But this is not acceptable, according to the majority. So I don't want people to be taken away with that. That's what happens when you stay in luxury hotels. You start to enjoy the luxury. You'll see people starting to lose the taste for getting into the jama'ah. Go down and make yourself part of the jama'ah. By the way, you get the reward of the jama'ah and 100,000, even if you pray in the mall or in the streets, if the lines are continuous all the way. Okay? Because it's rammed. The masjid is rammed. That's allowed. But you intentionally getting off at floor so-and-so without even going to check, that's lame behavior. Alright? Lame behavior. Yes, Naeem has said, as I suspected, when you search for First Ethical Will, the second link from East London Mosque has the PDF available. The PDF is definitely there by First Ethical. You'll find it 100% on Google. Any other questions, folks? Yes? Yes, in the Qurban Unit package, yeah. You don't. You're not going to get notified. You're not going to find out exactly when it's been done. Or if they do tell you, they're making an approximation. So we had to give a ruling. So my fatwa in this is that it's okay for you to assume that it's been done around 8, 9, 10 o'clock of that day. It's good enough. They start bam at Fajr, massive. And who knows, either you made it or not. The reason it's important is because we want to leave ihram. So what time do we assume? So I think 9, 10 o'clock, when you get there and you do a stoning, I think it's enough for you to assume that your dhabh is done and you can leave your ihram. But to be on the safe side, that's why we cut our hair as well. That's why ourselves physically we want to do 2 acts of Hajj. It's 3, isn't it? Dhabh, cutting the hair, stoning. As long as you do 2, I'm comfortable that you can come out of ihram. But if you've done the dhabh as well, the qurbani has been done as well, then you've got no problem coming out of ihram. By the way, remember, coming out of ihram does not mean relations, marital relations. Coming out of ihram means that you can change clothes. Marital relations are not allowed until the Hajj is done. Okay? Until the tawaf of the full tawaf is done. Okay, what else? Do we stay with our mahrams throughout tawaf and sa'i? Do they circulate and walk at times with us, and how do we stay together? I'll be honest with you, you just got to be common sense. Men lose the plot when it comes to thingy. They walk around like, they're R2D2 kind of, he's a president, and everyone goes around them and sticking their arms out and whatever. It's only a woman, for crying out loud. No one wants to touch a woman, going on, smacking us in the head and whatnot. Just chill, right? So if you walk with your wife, it's good. But you don't need to make a ring of steel around her like she's the queen, okay? So, it's a balance. So you don't need to stay with them. And a lot of people, they don't want to be right connected to a person. They want to be making dua, making dhikr. They want to be crying. They want to be, connecting with Allah. And, they might not want to be holding the hand of someone. So that's allowed. It's allowed. You don't need to be with your mahram. But if you realize that, and it does happen. There is abuse. People, sexual harassment, pickpockets, whatever, whatnot. So you do need to be very careful. And if you do feel you're being taken advantage of, then yes, of course, staying with your men is important. Yeah? What else? Come on. Are Safa and Marwa actually climbable? Yes. No, sorry. They're yes in terms of height. At Marwa, Safa, no, because it's fenced off. Yeah.
Two questions, Sheikh.
Yeah.
First one in Mina,
Yeah.
Masjid al-Khair.
Yeah.
Do we get the opportunity to do Jumu'ah in there?
The question is that are we allowed to, and will we get the opportunity to go to Masjid al-Khayf in Mina? Answer is yes. Is it worth it? Probably not. Just such a mission to get there. So 45 minutes to walk there. No, an hour to walk there. To get in, you got to be there 2 hours before Jama'ah.
So do people do Jumu'ah just in and around that sense?
Yes, we will be making Jama'ah. All the groups make Jama'ah in their tents.
Second question, Sheikh. The 10th, 11th, and 12th of the Hijjah.
Yeah.
I read in the document of
Yep.
Sheikh Albani,
Yep.
the sunnah is to go and do tawaf as well.
Yes.
So will we do the Jama'ah during the day?
Yes.
With your group, are you looking to do tawaf as well?
Not as a group. So the question is that on the 10th, 11th and 12th, it has been narrated that the Prophet ﷺ would go to Mecca during the day and sometimes even during the night and actually do tawaf. The mistake that people make is trying to apply that to now. Then they would ride and there's no traffic and they're there in 10-20 minutes and it's job done. Quick tawaf and come back. And the majority of the night is then spent here. The majority of the day is still spent here. Now, when you make the plan to go to Mecca to make tawaf, that's an 8-10 hour mission. Minimum. 8-10 hour mission. So the answer is no, we will not be doing it as a group. Okay? If you break your wudu during tawaf, then you go, make wudu, and then you come back and you start again that unit. Not from where you are, that unit is gone and you start from that unit. So if you were on 3.5, you break your wudu, you come back, you now do 4 more. Clear? Yes. The tawaf ziyarah, you mean the tawaf of Hajj itself? Yeah, no specific time. The sunnah is to do it on the 10th of the Hijjah. On the Hajj day, on the Eid day. No problem at all. You have until the end of Dhul Hijjah to do it. Yeah, no, correct. No time from the sunnah. The only problem with doing it after Isha is that you're not going to get back for the night. You have to be in Mina for the night. You have to spend the night in Mina. No, you could do it. Well, so I want you to understand what the night means. Okay, listen carefully, everybody. The night, like I said at the beginning, is the majority of the night. The majority in Sharia and in law and in fiqh and in statistics is 51%. Yes? 51% means that if you know what midnight is, then as long as you're back before midnight, then you're okay. Bit of a Cinderella thing going on, right? Midnight though is not 12 o'clock. Midnight is the mid of the night between Maghrib and Fajr. Is that clear? So if midnight is 11:30, as it will be, then you need to make sure that you come back at 11 o'clock. You've got to be back in Mina by 11 o'clock. Does that make sense? That means that you spent the majority of the night. Yes? You understand that? Okay, anything else? Man's got to go. Yalla.
Due to medical reason, or if you're not well and you've got to stay behind in Makkah, what happens then?
Say that again, sorry?
If you have to stay behind for medical reason, or you fall ill and you've got to be hospitalized or something, what happens then?
If you feel that there is a medical condition you suffer from, there's a risk that you might not complete the Hajj, then you should make that dua and say it before you make your ihram for Umrah at the beginning and for Hajj. In habasani habisun famahilli haythu habastani. This is a dua that the Prophet ﷺ taught the companions to say if they feared that something would happen. If then something happens, then you do not then need to worry about completion of the Hajj and there's no compensation to pay. If you did not make this dua, and it's in all your books, and if you did not make this dua and it happens, then you have to pay a compensation for not completing Hajj. It will be a completion for not doing Hajj. So you do a dhaba, you do a hadi, which is one animal, and then you'd have to do it again. Yes. You want to go to where? Hira. Yeah? In whose group? Your own group. Yeah, you're allowed to do what you want. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, you're not in control unless you're in your. I mean, according to your group rules. I mean, if your group doesn't want you to go anywhere, then it's up to them. In my group, we have some flexibility. Yeah. Najia, I answered that at the beginning. You can go back and check it out. Danish, be patient. I told you that before. All right. I'm not explaining that itinerary here. And Saeed, how many groups do we have in our group? How many people in our group? We are 140, I think, or something like that. 140, 137. 127. Okay? Alright folks, I think that's it. Jazakumullah khair. Subhanakallahumma bihamdik. Ashhadu an la ilaha illa anta wa astaghfiruka Allahumma wa atubu ilayk wa jazakumullah khair. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala accept your Hajj. Ameen. Ameen. Ameen.